Well, hello, everybody. A little Friday night chat with our good friend Idjester, because Friday nights, all right for chatting. Let's get a little action in.
That's right.
IDJ, we have IC Spots saying hello. As ID, I'm trying to get used to this again. IC Spots. Al's getting his Elton John reference warmed up. You are correct, IC Spots. Hopefully you're still there. And but IDJ, how's it going, my friend?
It's going great, man. Good to talk with you finally again. It's been a while.
Yes, it has. Well, I got away from some of the live streaming, but I mean this type of live streaming. But I'm going to try to get back into it a little more.
Yeah, because you were doing it pretty regularly every Saturday night for a long time.
We couldn't get people anymore, so
people couldn't take it any longer.
Yeah, they couldn't take me any longer. So I don't know. Phantomatic, how you doing? Hope all is well.
Phantomatic, how you doing?
And IC Spots is still there. Excellent. Tribes fan, all wonderful. Tribes fan, wonderful channel. So you're back into wargaming now. Just tell us about the channel because it's changed a bit. But before you do that, because people have asked me, I just looked real quick. Did you take all your sports stuff off, or can people still go there and watch a little of your old sports stuff, which was really fun? I enjoyed it.
No, you can still, all my old stuff is still available. It's just not on my main page anymore.
Gotcha.
You have to scroll back to previous. So I started just linking all the new stuff
right
to the channel. So Viper Dave's
here. Excellent. So tell us about the channel's rebirth, or back to its roots, I guess, right?
Yeah. I just decided to go a different way, a different route. I was having fun, but I kind of lost the desire to do it anymore. The sports stuff, it was just becoming such a pain trying to keep track of everything and trying to keep up on things and also do other down on it. And I decided it was time to.
It does happen. It does happen. And my bad habit with my channel is I think of things to do and I want to start it up. And I've learned, you know what? I can start a project up offline, and I think it's fun, I can bring a game or two onto the channel. I can start it and bring a game to the channel. I'll say, I might not always show this, but it's kind of neat. Like the other night, I came across a free Japanese baseball league in Dave Cook's Action PC. It's not the forum. It's an Action PC homebrew kind of page. And some of them work for me and some of them don't, because some of them are made with like Windows 8 and they're not compatible with what I have. But this one worked. It was a lot of fun. So I brought a game to the channel. But yeah, but I do enjoy. I've been in a couple of your live streams with the Swordsman, and I didn't say his whole. I know there's more to that name. And Devin, that was a lot.
Swordsman Wargamer.
Yes, and that's a lot of fun. I was also. Do you have plexiglass on top of your board? The other night, because you kept tapping, it looked like there's something or plastic, like thick.
I actually have a sheet of glass because I went to get plexiglass.
Yeah,
and it was like literally the sheet that I got of glass.
Yeah, was
$8.99. The plexiglass was $37.99.
Really?
The price of plexiglass went way up because everyone's using it to build their little cubicles and
stuff
like that.
You're right, because of the COVID. I didn't even think of that.
COVID. Yeah, I didn't either. I'm like, I told the wife one day I gotta run to the hardware store and get some plexiglass. She's like, what do you need to, and I told her I need to put it down my table, and so we went to the Lowe's and they had none. And so we came home and I looked for Home Depot.
Yep.
And they had a couple of sheets, and I'm like, it's expensive. Maybe I'll go. And then right next to the plexiglass was just regular sheets of glass. And you
just have to be careful with that. You don't want to drop it. But it's a great idea for that, because I saw some that, I guess there was one of your war game. It looked like it was a map. Literally the board game was and I could have been wrong. Maybe it was just something that went with the game. So, but it looked like that. So, but it looks really good on camera. And then you have your plier thingies. That's what I call them. You know, the tweezers. You move around. But I was watching. Now, are you had mentioned on your yes, those things.
And I got the super big ones too.
Prostate exam? Did I hear? No. But no, it looks really cool, and
I just got in my new.
What's that? A hole puncher?
Clippers. It's a counter clipper.
Oh, that yeah.
So you put the counter in and you cut the edges.
It's funny. I just bought my first slicer, card cutter.
Yeah, yeah.
Because I got sick of cutting them. Because a lot of I play a lot of pine tar offline, and I'm like, I got to cut I can't do these with the scissors anymore. I'm like, so I bought that, and it works so well. So, but what now? Are you? It seems like when I watch, you're doing different games all the time. You had mentioned that you're not going to do like full scenarios, or you're just going to show the games and play a little bit. Or are you going to do?
I'm kind of piecemealing things together right now and trying different things. See what I like, see what I don't like. This game that I was playing last night actually is new to me, and so I thought I would try it out. Shorter. It's only a 2-turn scenario.
Okay.
So it's only going to be a couple hours. It's just setting it all up and everything.
So you're seeing if you can get enjoyment out of that, because that's pretty quick for
because I'm more of a tactical. So there's different levels. There's tactical level, which is like lock and load. We talked about that. And then you have strategic level, and then you have operational level. And so it's like a zoom in or not zoomed in, or like big scope, like like your map would be. Like your map could be like one town, or your map could be
a city, or a big, or
it could be like a state, and then your map could also be like the world.
Right.
So it just depends on how zoomed in you want. So I'm just trying different things, trying different systems. Just trying to get the feel for what I like and what I don't like, and I got in over my head when I bought a couple games. So this is the new one that I just got.
Oh, you're talking about that before, the Atlantic Wall.
Yeah. So this one here's got over 4,000 counters.
I remember that's the one you were talking about.
And like
you did a live stream and someone
got like no space. And I'm like, why did I even buy this game? Because I don't have space for it.
Well, you must
I don't have time for it. It's like, why did I even do it?
That's the other thing. You have to find, like with anything, but especially wargaming. When I did some of that when I was much, much younger, and I was way over my head. I'm talking really young. I was a young teenager. I was like, oh, let's, we played Risk and we played Axis, and let's step it up, right? And then I showed, I have it over there. I'm not going to pull it out because it's underneath stuff. But one of these days, I told Devin, he goes, you picked like the hardest. I think it was like Afrikaner Corps or something like that. He goes, you picked like one of the hardest games. I read the thing. I was like, oh, I like the scenario. This is the day you had to go. We had a hobby store where it was just in the next little, like you just walked a few blocks. It was the next town. I lived in the city, but then it was a suburb. We lived right near the suburbs. And that's where I bought my Strat and my Title Belt box. You would order it. And you'd wait for it to come in. You'd go in the hobby shop. Would call, hey, your game's in, right?
Right.
And so I ordered it there, and they actually had a racetrack in back, a dirt racetrack, and people brought this was cool. They brought their racing cars that were actually gas. You put gasoline in, and they were remote controlled. It was awesome to watch.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah. So that was, cool. So that's. We had that hobby shop, and it was, and again, because it looked cool, I bought it. And one of these days, we played, but we didn't play the right way. We're like, okay, I don't understand these rules, and I just want to blow crap up,
I want to shoot something, right?
That's all I want to do. That's all I want to do.
Well, there's certainly different levels of wargaming.
Now, what would be? I know you've been asked this. What is, obviously Risk was for me the first introduction into war. Was it Risk or Risk? Then you play your battleship, and again, that's wargaming.
Yeah,
much the simpler level of wargaming, but it's wargaming.
Yeah.
You know, what was your next? Because I know you played Dungeons and Dragons, which again, in a way, to me, I know it's adventure, but it's war. It's combat. So there's wargaming. There's more storytelling.
Yeah.
What was your first? Was it like Risk? Was it Stratego? Or maybe you just jumped right into something?
You know, when I was young, it was Risk. I mean, that was kind of every kid's introduction to wargaming was Risk. Yeah. You know, that's what most of our generation grew up with.
Yep.
You know, because there wasn't a lot of games out there like there is nowadays. I mean, there's just so many games coming out.
Because I remember when it went from Risk to Axis and Allies, and that just blew our minds because there's like a little more strategy. And we still played Risk too, don't get me wrong, but it was like a step up. And we're like, whoa, this is cool.
Right.
And Risk, the thing with Risk, that could cause a lot of arguments because the cool thing with Risk, if you played, I think you could play with a maximum, was it 6 or 8 people? I can't remember, but
I know it was a bunch, yeah.
Yeah. And we usually played with that number. So you're trying to create these alliances, and you're like, and you're sitting there turning to your friend and go, you know he's going to screw you over. He does it all the time. Stop listening to him. And my other friend's going, no, not this time. This time I'm true to my word. Take him on. I'll protect you. And then he's sitting there going, well, you're attacking me now. I'm like, Jesus, like you think the leopard changes his spots, you numbnut? But that was a lot of fun. And then, like I said, then you get to Axis and Allies. There was a little more strategy. And I have to say, I bought Axis and Allies on Steam. Very disappointed with it, because I was thinking they should just made it like the board game that I could play on PC. That's all I wanted. Mm-hmm. It's a little more.
They cartooned it up, didn't they?
Yeah, and it's just not, to me, user friendly. I'm like, why does this happen? I just want to do this. It should be pretty easy. It should be a point and click game, basically. But that being said, so what was your next step up? What was your non-risk, step up military strategy game?
What was my next step up? To be honest, I'm going to say I'm one of these kind of guys. You know me, Al.
Yeah,
right?
Okay.
So I'm like, okay, I can play the easy stuff. It's now time to get into the hard stuff, and I went right into ASL.
Yeah, which that is
advanced squad leader. Yeah,
right, and that isn't that like a way of life.
It's it's definitely a time sink.
Yeah,
it's definitely
that would be my equivalent to sports gaming. Football Manager, that the soccer sim, like people just play that one game, and I've heard about ASL. About how people, that's the game they play because it's the rules, I guess. So
yeah, the rule, I mean, there's probably like 80 modules for it, and different scenarios, and so you're constantly updating and buying new little packs of this and that, and
how big was the rule book? How many pages do you remember?
It's big.
Yeah, that was
really big.
It could be daunting.
It's a monster.
Yeah.
And it needs to be redone, and it needs to be clarified because there's so many. Here's the problem. Okay, so they originally came out with Squad Leader, which is in essence the same game, the same format and everything. And they decided, well, we're going to add in all this other stuff to make it more realistic, right? And what it did was it just convoluted the rules because now rule will say your unit can do this, except if he's doing this, or 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 if he's doing that. And so there's all these, pages and pages of exceptions to the rules whenever there's a rule written. And you can't just say unit X does this, because of all these extra parts they put into it.
Right. My next question, for IC Spot says, let me just put up to IC Spot says, did you watch Greyhound? Which
I did not.
Oh, that's the Tom Hanks movie.
Tom Hanks.
I just realized what that was. I haven't seen it yet.
I've seen some of the people have posted some of the scenes on YouTube. I've watched the scenes. I probably watched the movie based on just watching all the scenes.
Yeah.
Because, you know, they don't show you the scene, you know, in the beginning, he's with his wife, he's got to say goodbye, blah, blah, blah. I don't need to see all that stuff, you know.
Yeah,
so,
let's get to the action.
Let's get to the action, right. But the action at the end, although...
Where he runs into a huge wolf
it's Hollywooded.
Yeah.
It's not made to be... Submarines are not going to stand there on the surface and go toe-to-toe with a destroyer because they're going to get destroyed very easily.
That's why they're called submarines in Sneak Attack.
Yes, exactly.
So, but
and there's I was doing a they have a solo game you can play called The Hunters, where you're actually a submarine captain on a ship. And your job is to go out and try to hunt down other ships and sink them. And that's a lot of fun. And it's kind of just like the movie Greyhawk, but you get to the point where part of the game is you can attack the ship and then there's an escort. And then you have to decide, is it worth going after the ship? Because if the escort engages you, you make a roll. And if it engages you, it can start doing some major damage to the submarine, which can really ruin, you know, you're on a patrol, right? So if you're damaged, you can't make your full patrol, you can't do certain things, and you can also die. And once you die, the game is basically over and you add up all your tonnage. So
that I thought there's a couple of things because I forget things. So and then we can go back wherever you want to go. Because I'll let you take the show, and because we're going to talk wargaming. We may do a little sport.
I think we should talk sports. I need to find out what's going on from you guys. I've been keeping up on everyone's channels.
Well, first of all, a lot of people miss your sports gaming. And they've said to me, and actually Uncle Ron Juckett said, it'd be nice once in a while, throw us a bone once a month. Give us a sports game. We miss you. We all miss you with that. But I have
I should say I got a really nice message from Mike Martin.
Yep.
Who was great guy, and he was helping me with my hockey game and doing it, you know, testing and doing all sorts of stuff. He emailed me today because he was watching one of my previous videos and was wondering if I still had the file. I sent him the file, and he emailed me back and basically said, you know, I appreciate all that you did while you were, you know, and I miss you, and I wish you were still doing it, blah, blah, blah. So it's good to hear that, you know, stuff.
Well, a lot of people said, you brought a lot of games to the table. I just purchased a game that I saw on your channel. I've seen on other channels, PC Replay Baseball, and, you know, King Icky Boo does, and I Am Sporticus, and other people too. I don't mean to miss anyone, but, you know, I've seen it on your channel. You actually, I want to say you played it because I think you used that even when you didn't. Mr. Utah Mike mentioned something like it's really good at stat keeping, even if it's not for the game. Like a lot of people use it just for the stat keeping, and I've actually learned.
You can input any result,
right?
So you can play Stratomatic, APA, whatever, and you know, let's say it's a ground out to second. You can click on the button, right? Cerrone, and you know, you can input it into the replay baseball, and then it'll has the AI, so it'll play the other games and, you know, keep track of all your stats and your ratings and everything.
I have to say, I am enjoying it. I re-downloaded the demo. I played 4 games. They play quick. I might not necessarily bring it. I kind of want to bring it to my channel, but I have so many things on the plate already. Again, it's my channel. I can do whatever I want, but I want to really learn it well enough where I can explain it if someone asks me a question, and I'm nowhere near that. So if I did bring it to the channel in a little bit, it's just to enjoy it and say I'm learning along with everybody else.
Well, I think you will find, and what I found, hopefully, is that it's the best interface to keep your stats for your games. So,
and you actually played the card. I think you actually played the card and dice version of it too.
I did for a little bit.
Yeah,
I did.
That would be daunting to me because it's a lot of extra rolls.
It is very convoluted it's a lot of numbers because you got numbers on the dice, and you're going to look at the card, and it's going to be a number, and then you got to look at the other card, and then you got to add the two numbers up, and it can be
runs really smooth on the PC.
Mm-hmm.
I like it. I mean, I still haven't figured out how to roll my own dice though. There's a setting and I just can't find it, but I'll find it eventually, because that's what I want to do, is roll my own dice. But it was fun, even because I'm still looking at the dice roll, even when I'm clicking on it, because I'm saying, okay, what does this mean? Even though it tells you, I want to know what it means. So then when I see the numbers pop up, I know, like, that's a strikeout. Right. That's a homer. Right. It's almost APA-ish because it's chart driven.
Correct. Yes.
Yeah. And I have to do this because it's my good friend, Thrice Aroni, a card collecting treat. You got to check out his wonderful channel. And congrats again on he's going to have his wife's going to have another baby. They're going to have another baby. And he says, thanks for having this stream while I do the dishes. Oh, man, I listen to so many streams when I do the dishes. So here's the thing. With sports games, there's stats. Mm-hmm. So you can sit there and go, okay, I can see why this guy is this person, whether it's, mostly I play men's sports, but I've played a little women's tennis. There's stats for everything, right? Mm-hmm. Here's my question before I forget. A military strategy game. How are they now? How are they judging units? Like American, the 82nd Airborne, their rating is going to be better because they were better they had more combat. Do you understand what I'm saying? Where are they getting the stats for? I know there's historical stuff, but it's not like I can go to baseball. I can't go to military reference and go, or maybe there is. Maybe I just don't know about this stuff and say, their casualties. How do they come up with their stats to rate units?
It's up to the designer, to be honest, because like you say, there isn't a rating of the 82nd Airborne can do X in this amount of time,
right?
And this other unit does it in another time. So it's up to the designer to really balance that with their design and historically what weapons the units have and stuff. So if you look at certain games, they'll have like a Tiger tank, when they'll have an attack value higher than other tanks.
It's a good tank.
Right. And then armor ratings and stuff like that, or how far do your units can shoot, the range of the units.
Right. So there is statistics to it.
Yeah.
I mean, there is. I'm just saying, like, where do there's a baseball reference, football reference, or baseball and psychic.
There is none.
I've always wondered. So it's up to
it's arbitrary, up to the designer.
Yeah. And most of these people, whether they have a historical degree or not, are well versed in the history of what their
good ones are. Yeah.
The good ones are. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
We have to say hello to our good friend, Mr. Utah Mike,
Sports Time Machine.
Thank you for joining us.
Would that be Minute Rice? Rice Roni?
Okay, so that was one of the questions I want to ask. What to you what interests you the most in wargaming? Meaning, like, what games you've tried all different games, just like with sports gaming. Okay, I'm going to be honest. I'm probably never ever buying a board war game ever again, but I do play them out. You've seen me play them. Mm-hmm. I enjoy it. I've played the Zulu Dawn game, which is stuck on my old computer, and I still have to try to get it on my new computer. That was a lot of fun. I've played Order of Battle, which again, that's my speed. There's tactics in it, and there's
it's one of the best games ever.
And I've played the one Devon, which I forget, Lock and Load, which I was telling you, I'm still learning that because I'm not doing certain, and then you explained a couple of things. Okay, that makes sense. Because I couldn't rally, and then you said you need this to rally broken units. But they're fun games. I've played other smaller war games, some good, some not good at all. What is? I know you like. What is your ideal war game for you? I mean, you don't have to say the exact game. You can if you want. Like, for timing, just for enjoyment. It has to be enjoyment. All right, let's leave it at that. You play a lot of games, but what's your go-to game if you're going to sit? Do you play everything online, or do you sometimes play it offline? That's like your friend Swordsman from UK.
Usually, if I'm just like when I did my sports stuff.
Yeah.
If I'm going to play it, I'm probably going to do it online. I don't really do anything offline for myself. Right. I'm just going to play this for myself or whatever now.
It's fun to share.
Yeah, it's funner when you have other people there watching, commenting, saying, commenting on things and just being there, being part of it. I mean, I didn't have I had 11 people in the chat last night, but there was like 3 comments that all people did. But there was like 11 people watching. So I was like, oh no, there's a lot of people watching and I'm doing this. So
well, it is, to me, it's fun to watch. I don't comment I'm a moderator on your channel, so I sit and I watch and make sure no shenanigans go on, and they usually don't. But I'm watching. I might be playing something. I listen, and it's fun. I enjoy it. So
that, but back to your question, what I enjoy.
Yes.
What I enjoy the best for me is the lower complexity. You have games where you might have a stack of like 10 counters, on top of one another in one little hex, and you got to try to remember where everything is and stuff. I like the games. That's normally why I like the tactical games, because it's usually less counter density, less stacks in the hex, and maneuvering them around and kind of flanking and getting in good positions and kind of getting in those, oh, I got this guy because he can't. And that's what I did last night with this game is the Germans came in and they also had a force coming in from the side, and they kind of came around and it forced the Russians in the middle. When the Russians got attacked, they have to retreat, but they have nowhere to retreat to, so they took extra damage. So that's kind of the fun part of it for me, is the maneuvering and the tactics of it.
And you're playing most of. I mean, I would assume with wargaming, you're playing as both sides when you're playing solo. I mean, unless there's a book saying, okay, now these guys move here, and I think they do have that with some games.
There's a lot of solitaire games, where the game runs, the AI runs your opponent. There's game companies that just make solo games, and they're really, really good. And
now with those games, the solo games, can you play as both? Meaning, you can play one time as side A, the other one time as the Germans, one time as the one time as the Axis, one time as the Allies.
No, not normally. Not normally.
So
they're usually designed solo. Yeah. So like I'm doing a bombing of Germany.
Yeah.
Solo game. And so my job is I draw an event, and the event tells me where to go bomb. And then I move my plane through the different areas. And then each time I move into an area, I got to roll, and I find out if the Luftwaffe comes after us, or if there's flak in there, if there's some random event that happens. And that's how the game plays their opponent. Because if you roll, it'll be like, oh,
you're always playing as
there's Luftwaffe comes after your bombers, and now you've got to fight them off. And
that's cool. Before we go any further, I got to say hello to our good friend Brad62. I think he was talking when we were those comments were from I think he was talking about the lock and load when I was about the
differences in the units. Yeah.
So that makes sense. The lower, still complicated, but yet lower complexity. I guess it makes sense to me.
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of what I like.
I know now. I don't want a game. And again, I'm a sports gamer, but even when I'm looking at, and I play, like I say, I play military strategies on the PC. I look at some of them, I go, oh, they look cool. And I'm like, okay, this is kind of a repeat of a game I have already, and I actually enjoy the game I have, so I don't want to buy this. But I did pick up, and I messed this up. I want to say it's Wars Around the World, and it's a PC game.
I don't know anything about that one.
And it's really fun, but they added something I've never seen. And then I seen it later when I was looking up how people play, and I came across cards, like special event cards. And boy, can they screw you over if you don't like, if the enemy has, and like, really, my Southern Army is going to mutiny. Awesome sauce. I was playing. I'm going to get the country messed up, so I'm not going to say it. Not that I can't pronounce it, I just can't remember. It's in North Africa, and it was Islamist fundamentalist uprising and the French went in there, I can visualize the whole thing. I remember the news and all that. So I was playing that scenario. I was playing as the country trying to hold off until the French come in. And what I did was, because my forces were spread out all over the place, I said, well, I'm going to make a North Army and a Southern Army. And every time these guys pop up, I'm going to annihilate them. And that's what I did. Because instead of chasing them all over the place, look, the city's open.
Right. Come get it. Yeah.
And it worked. So I said, okay. And I'm waiting for the French to come in, right? I said, oh, it's only like 5 more turns. This is easy. And all of a sudden, my Southern Army, because their commander was not as verbose or as popular, right? The Northern Army, they love their commander. They do it. And they mutinied. I was like, are you kidding me? And I lost my whole. And then the French came in. I lost the scenario, but it let it play you out to the final turns and stuff, which was still a lot of fun. But yeah, these event cards, I don't know if that's the right term, but that was interesting because I never come across that. I don't do a lot of wargaming, but it was fun. It was fun stuff. And I liked it. Wars around the world or wars across the world.
Yeah.
Or something like that.
And it was heard of it.
There's a lot of modern. It goes from modern to conflicts that just happened a few years ago, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, to way back into like the English. But it was a more modern stuff. I was like, oh, that's good. And they have a Korean War, which I don't see many of those for the PC. And again, I'm not saying I'm looking for them. Devin helped me find the Zulu Wars, which I played. I put one video up online, which was fun. The other thing I'm always looking for, but I want it on PC. I found it on Vassal, DNBN Foo, but I couldn't find. And Devin says to go on Game Board Geeks to try to find the rules because because they didn't really give me the rules. I was like, well, I don't know how to play. It's too bad because it sets up beautifully. You know, like it's that I never used Vassal, and when did I come across? Someone said something. I typed it in and said, oh, I checked some sports game. Oh, wow, they got the old Title Bout. You can actually play Title Bout, the old one, for free. And they had that tennis game. I put a video up. And I asked, I messaged Devin, what's this? Because I heard them talk about it before, and I might have heard you talk. I said, what is this Vassal? It's okay, right? Because you guys use it. It's like, oh, yeah. It's, there's a lot of free stuff on there. Some stuff that you have to have the game, the rules, so you can understand it, but it's interesting. But I'm always looking for like a DNBN Foo, which was the French in Indochina and the final big battle, because that whole strategy always interests me, and I like to play it out. That being said, when you're playing a game, because I know when you did sports games, baseball, you did replays, and you did them as played, meaning you might not have used the same. You always use the same players. You might not have, and I'm pretty sure you actually probably brought the pitchers in almost always the way they were brought in. Sometimes maybe not, maybe, depending, the scenario is like, if the game's not the same, you're not bringing this pitcher, you might go to the closer before you went to this guy. When you're playing a military strategy game, IDJ, are you playing are you changing any of your tactics? Because that, to me, that'd be fun to change the tactics.
Normally, I would say most war games, there's usually a couple ahistorical scenarios in there, and I completely ignore those because I'm not into the ahistorical stuff. I want to relive the battle. I won't necessarily do the same strategies as what happened in real life, but I'm going to use the same units that were there and the same positioning, because sometimes it'll be like there's a historical setup and these are where the units are going to be,
right?
But it's going to be really hard for you to win, so we made another scenario where you can choose where the units are going to go. It won't be historical, but it might make it a little easier for you to win. I would rather play the historical scenario where things are going to be the way they are, because I'm reliving the history of what it is.
So you're doing it basically like you did.
I did my sports stuff.
Yeah, that's what I want to know. If you, because me, I think you were watching when I played. I put one order of battle up, and I'm like, I know these guys didn't have tanks. Like I'm positive these guys, because I've watched the History Channel. I read about the Battle of Singapore. When the Japanese invaded where the English were, and then the battle, to get to Singapore and all that, and how the British didn't want to invade neutral Thailand, which was a big mistake. They should have. And one of the big things was they had armored cars, but they really didn't have. Even if they had stinky tanks, it would have helped them. And it gave me a scenario. Well, I'm pretty sure they didn't have these, because I remember reading about them. And Devin was like, "Yeah, I'm pretty sure." And I was like, "I'm taking them. You give me the chance to reinforce." And it made the difference.
I'm rewriting history.
Well, you can't win. That's the cool thing about that game. The whole thing is to try to accomplish. Like when I was playing the Battle of the Philippines, and that was offline, I can never win that scenario. My whole job is to hold, delay, hold, delay, and make sure MacArthur can get off the island.
Right.
And then that in your scenario, you lose in the end. I mean, it says you did your job, but you can't sit there and throw the Japanese back, because they just have a lot more stuff. And for a while, I was like, "Wait, this is going pretty good." And then the reinforcements come in. Okay, let's go. Let's play a little smarter here. Let's not go to them now, because we're gonna get hammered. But yeah, so I like that aspect. So you play it, which that's what I figured. You play it exactly like you do.
Yeah. I want to play it the way it was. Yeah. So I mean, and sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. But like I said, a lot of times there'll be historical setups, or certain scenario, these units maybe arrive earlier than they did historically, which will make it easier for you or whatever. So I normally play it pretty straight up, how it went in real life, basically. Yeah.
Which makes sense. And you're also a very, I would say, a voracious reader of history.
Yeah.
You get a lot of, because you've shown them off. You've done videos on books that you've gotten. Historical books.
Mm-hmm.
So that also helps you. Same thing with Devin. Devin, our good friend OG, the original Grognard. And I'm going to guess Todd, who changed his name to Wardrobe. Wardrobe Gamer or something. It's funny. Yeah. But I know he reads a lot, and he's into the paratroopers. So there's the historical quality of it. And I think to be into, not necessarily to be in it, but it probably helps that you would like history to be in historical wargaming.
Yeah. So. Yeah, I mean, you read about it, specifically.
So Brad says John Tiller. Yeah, I saw that. I'm just not good at John Tiller games. So Brad 62, thank you. He says John Tiller Games has DMB and Food Battles in their squad battle titles. And then, of course, OG, the original.
OG's here. Look at that. All right. So the scenario I was playing last night is Panzer Battles, the 11th Panzer on the Cher River. And what really got me interested in getting this game was the fact that this book, Panzer Battles, is written by the German general that was there at the battle, and all the accounts of what had happened, and all that
first-hand account.
And you have this, and you go, "Oh, that's pretty cool, and that's neat." And you're reading this, and now you got this that'll actually let you replay the battle and try it out.
And that's one of the reasons, because I read so much about Dien Bien Phu. I watched so many specials on it. One of my favorite military documentaries is on Dien Bien Phu. It's in the larger documentary of Vietnam, the 50,000 Day War, I think it's called, and it was on History Channel. And the narrator, it wasn't Walter. Was it Walter? I can't remember, but it was a very distinct voice, a voice everyone knew. But that was early on. The history. They quickly did the thing on the French and Indochina, and then the major battle, Dien Bien Phu. And I read about it as a kid. Whatever I could get out of the library, I would read about it. And again, that's not an easy thing to find in your local library.
But, it's not like one of those. It's not like D-Day, right?
Right. But it just, again, it's a very interesting. And Devin, the OG, if you'd like to join us, just put it in the chat, and I'll send you a link if you want to. You don't have to, just because I see you there. So I'm always looking for that game, and the Korean War, because I had a relative who passed away in that, and so at a young age I learned about that. But yeah, that's because I always joke with Devin, I'm like, when you guys just, I want a DNBN Fu scenario. I want the battle. I want, and I go, make it.
You know, I came across something not too long ago, and it had the battle of DNBN
Fu.
Yeah, that. Yeah. And the first thing I thought of was you. And
Oh,
I was like, I should probably tell Al about this. Now, I don't remember if it was a board game or if it was a Maso module or what it was, but I came across something, and I should tell Al about this.
The one board game I might buy, if I look it up and it goes, the level of, if it's not like 52,000 pages of rules, that's the one I would, because that interests me so much. The other one was the Battle of Singapore. Again, it's my terminology. That's not but when the Japanese drove to Singapore and took it, because I had a book. I remember buying it. I had a monthly, when I was a kid, you were like the monthly book club thing.
Mm-hmm.
You buy books, and I saw, and then the Korean War, I bought a book on that. Again, paperbacks, not these huge, but very historically accurate, because as I went with age, you look up stuff you get on the internet. So the ones I hear where you're coming. That's why I know you're a big reader. I know when I read about a subject historically, I'm like, oh, it's kind of neat if you could play it over. We all play Monday morning quarterback, and Monday morning general is sort of fun. And again,
I'll tell you what, sports simming and wargaming are very, very similar. So when I put that video out that said, I'm switching from my sports sims, I'm going back to wargaming, I'm not going to be doing sports anymore, I'm just letting everyone know, because if you're here for sports, I'm not going to be doing them anymore. I'm just letting you know so you can go elsewhere, go check out other channels or whatever. I must have had 50 to 100 people email me and say, I'm a sports guy. I came to watch your channel for sports, but I also enjoy the wargaming. So I'm going to stick around and watch. Those two are like this. Strategy, right? You're talking strategy.
Yep.
You got baseball or football or whatever strategy, when you're doing your action PC football and you're setting your defense and you're setting your who's blitzing and what play you're calling. I mean, that's all strategy.
Oh, absolutely.
Wargaming is basically all strategy.
You've said that. Oh, Original Grognard said that. A couple other people have said that. Why there are not more crossovers. And I think there are, but it's not something I would put up constantly on my channel, because I just don't do it enough to sit there, because people ask questions and I'm like, I don't know. I'm playing the game. I'm enjoying the game.
Anthony from Runs Gaming told me that he was going to. He watched one of my videos. I think it was on the Hunters, which was that U-boat one. He said that looks really cool. I'm going to get that because that's something I look like I would really enjoy. And I'm like, I've had like at least 10 people email me or post messages or comments and say, I'm going to get a game that you just played because that is something that I really think would be cool.
Yeah, like if someone asked me a question on why I did something in a sports game, they might not agree, but I'm going to explain it to them, and I will vigorously explain it to them. I've done it before if they continue. And well, this, if you don't like what I do, okay, you can play the game the way you want. With a military strategy game, when someone does that, I'm like, well, I did it. Like I did one. I played this game. It's an open world kind of like an Axis and Allies, slightly. It's like Axis and Allies. It was like World War II sandbox, I think it was. It's fun. It's actually fun. You can play all kinds of crazy scenarios, or you can play it straight up. Not straight up, but they give you a scenario. So I played the Winter War, Finland against the Soviets.
Soviets, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, I won the scenario, and I did things differently. Okay, the Winter War, though I played it because it intrigued me when I came across. I didn't even know this about history. They don't teach us this in history class, right? So I played it. He goes, why did you do this? I go, and finally, and I kept going back and forth messaging the guy because he would leave messages. And, I go, spoiler alert, I won the scenario. He goes, yeah, you took too many casualties. I'm like, I'm fighting the Soviets. I'm Finland. In Finland, where they were tough and they used their terrain, and that's how they kept the Soviets out of Finland. But I did things with paratrooper drops behind their lines just to keep them off balance. I was just playing it out, enjoying it. I don't mind answering questions back and forth. But when someone says, oh, you should have done this, you should buy the game yourself and play it.
Yeah. That's the answer that everyone needs to get for the people that tell you what you did wrong or how you should have done this. Like we had a discussion at the end of my video last night about if there were some units that were in supply or out of supply, and it makes a big difference.
Yeah.
And they were out of supply, and then I thought, oh, you know what? They possibly could be in supply. And we had a debate about it. Those are great because they're constructive. They're trying to clarify things. It's not like somebody saying, you did something wrong because these units are out of supply. There's a big difference between
Right. And it's funny you mentioned that. The first time I came across a military strategy game with that, again, I'm playing lower level, was the Zulu game, and I played the battle. Actually, I remember the Battle of Isla Ndwana. Again, fascinates me. I've read about it. I've watched the movies about it.
You got some weird ones, man.
Well, it's just the mistakes. Like, because unfortunately, mistakes cost people's lives. And it's the mistakes that are made. And you sit there and you go, I just shake my head. I go, I remember watching my nephew didn't want to watch the whole movie, but he goes, when the battle scenes, the movie was in the late 70s or early 80s. The one with, and lots of big name actors, Burt Lancaster, Anthony, just all lots. It was an epic. It didn't do well at the movie theaters because it was one of these 3.5-hour movies. It didn't interest people. I wanted so badly to go to the movies to see that, and it was gone before I could even, I'm a kid then. So I'm like, I'm waiting for it to, and it never came to the local movie theater.
Right.
You can actually find all the battle scenes on YouTube. So if you don't want to watch, but there is interest there's also interesting stuff with the politics of it, the silliness of when you could have negotiated a treaty to get what you wanted and not get anyone killed. But when they did it, my nephew at the time was young. He's already graduated college. My nephew Nicholas, and he says, when the battle scenes come up, I want to watch. And so, I said, well, you got to watch just a little before. And so the first thing he says, he goes, why'd they split their forces? Because they split their, they underestimated the enemy. But it's an interesting thing. But that's the first time I came into, you have to be, I probably are games, I just didn't realize it. And that's why I'm like, why aren't those guys fighting? But in this one, I realized you have to be in supply. You have to be within your supply where the ammo is. Like, you have to be within it. And as you run out of ammo, you have to fall back to the ammo because the ammo ain't moving up to you.
Right.
So.
Right. Yeah, supply. I mean, a lot of games use heavy supply rules. Some don't use that heavy supply rules. It just depends on the game system. Usually your lower, easier games don't.
Actually, Risk actually had supply too. Now that I'm thinking about it, you had to be linked up, not necessarily supply, but the reinforcement chain. So that's probably the first. But I never had like the supply. It was a Zulu Battle of Isla Ndwana was the first. And again, it's when you don't play that and you're sitting there going, you're like, yeah, I'm personally attacked, and you're like, oh man, I'm out of ammo.
Right. Yeah. It's a different world. I mean, you got to learn new things. It's funny because Rough Swordsman Wargamer, he's in England, and he can't understand. Like, he tried watching some of my baseball games so he could learn baseball because he gets a few games televised over there, and they started doing the series over there in Wardrobe, and he doesn't understand anything about the baseball, and he asks me all these questions and strategies of baseball. And it's funny because you being the baseball guy, you know all this stuff, but you're not being the war gamer. He would be able to answer all your questions and help you. No, because he's a war gamer.
I like that. That's like when people, like when you'd come in and I don't get a lot of views for that stuff. That's why I play it offline. But there's I want to bring this other game to the channel and also lock and load just a little bit, but I want to be a little more proficient at them, where I'm not sitting there going, yeah, I'm skipping my turn again because I can't move anybody because I did something really stupid, I guess, and my guys are locked in here. That's why I always think out my first move with lock and load, because I'm like, okay, what's the scenario here? And I have the first. I'm waiting for Falkland Islands to come out because I want to get that one. I don't think it's out yet. I think it got delayed. Because Steam's supposed to send me a notification. I haven't seen it yet. But it's close, I think. But the scenario I have, the one I like to play a lot to learn the game, I play this one. I have two scenarios. It's either 2 with World War II and 2 at Vietnam, or 3. I can't remember. But I play this one with World War II over and over because I'm trying to learn the game properly. So I know they're going to try to flank me. And because I have issues with trying to move the other guys around, right? I said, listen, I got to make my move really good the first time and just keep these guys there.
Right.
Yeah, so I I tell you, I've enjoyed. We have wardrobe in the chat, and he says, "Whoa, you have LNN." Oh yeah, I have Lock and Load on the PC.
He's got the Steam version. Yeah,
on the PC because again,
it's awesome. It's awesome.
Yeah, and that's my speed. Also, I don't have the tabletop area.
Yeah.
To play a big war game.
Yeah.
I mean, we just fixed up the cellar, cleaned it up after my dad passed away. We had to clean up, and so I have some room down there for. But the PC for wargaming for me, and I'm going to start. I'll be asking you questions. Again, I really enjoy Order of Battle. I'm liking Lock and Load, and I'm liking this other game I picked up, Wars Around the World. Again with those the event cards, which hose me all the time. But I'm liking that stuff. What was a surprise game for you when it comes to wargaming? You know, like you took a shot at it, PC or tabletop. Most likely, it's tabletop for you. But you know what I'm saying? Like you were pleasantly surprised, and it's hard to pleasantly surprise you.
Actually, I will tell you, it is. I gotta remember the name of it. I don't play it very often, but it was a really good surprise for me. It was, gosh, what was the name of that sucker? It's right at the tip of my tongue. As soon as I see it on my Steam list, I'll. What the heck is it called?
What was it about then? World War II?
Yeah. It's a World War II. What in the heck is it called? Oh, well, I knew that one was going to be good, though, so that wasn't a really surprise. If we're talking surprise, what the heck is the name of that? It's just driving me crazy.
Like for me, while you think of that, for me, it was that game, that World War II open sandbox. It was a lot of fun. You could play all kinds of crazy scenarios, or you could play legit scenarios however you wanted them. Wardrobe says, a victory denied and a victory lost game surprised me. There is also a smaller, it was a PC game, and they're really small scenarios, a bunch of World War II scenarios, and you played them really quick, and that was kind of fun, but I don't remember the name either. I should have wrote these things down, but... So in the chat, if you are a war gamer, or if you're a sports sim gamer, or whatever game, what game have you been pleasantly surprised with that...
I cannot believe I can't find it.
That's okay. That's okay. That's all right.
I can't even...
What was the other game you're thinking of that you said you knew it was going to be good? What was that one?
Panzer Corps 2. Oh, Unity of Command. Sorry.
Oh, I played that on the PC.
I think you would really like Unity of Command 2. Toy Soldiers on Xbox 360 was great.
I tell you, you know what? Before anyone... I've played that game. Again, that's a military strategy game. People can sit there and go, no, yes, it is. That's actually a lot of fun. It's a tower defense game. If I'm thinking of the same, oh no, Toy Soldiers. The one I have, it's Toy Box or something. That's a tower defense. I think he's actually talking about like the little green. That was actually
Little
fun.
Green Men. The Little Green Men one.
Yeah, that was actually fun.
Like
that was
5 games, so it was popular. Yeah.
So, and Uncle Dave's here. Dave Gardner. Thank you for joining.
Uncle Dave.
Yeah.
So, thanks for having him come by. But Unity of Command was, I got the first edition of the game, and it was East Front. It was okay, but it wasn't great. And then they announced version 2 was going to come out. And I was like, okay, well, the first one was very good. But I'll tell you what, the second one, this is a game company which learned from their mistakes. Not that they made mistakes, but they learned what their customers wanted, and they implemented and they evolved and they made a much better game. The second game, when I ended up getting it because it was on sale, I'm like, I'll give it a shot, and it's a really good game that has some good strategy.
I played it Unity. I played Unity of Command. I don't know if it's the first version you're talking about or the second, but you had to play as the Germans, or that's the way I had it set up.
You got the first one.
And you had to break through.
Yeah.
You know how long it took me to beat it?
Yeah.
A while, because even though the Soviets really didn't attack you, they just played defense, defense, defense.
Mm-hmm.
You had X amount of turns to do certain things, and you had to do it. That was a that was the first one, I guess you just told me, and it was fun. I got to try the second one then.
You should get the second one, because if you thought the first one was good,
I enjoyed it.
It was difficult. I think the second one makes more sense on how to play it, where you don't have to like study it or try to figure it out. It's more, you go through the tutorial mission, it explains everything you need to know, and then you go, oh, okay, why didn't they do this in the first one?
First, I do remember when you said the first one's like, you trial and error.
Exactly.
Trial and error. I just got all these dudes wiped out for no stupid reason. They're like, oh, then you're doing it again. You're like, why didn't I just do that the first time? But trial, yeah. Right. And it's very important to move certain units, use these units because you have to capture this objective really quick. You don't want to get bogged down here because you got to go bing, bing, bing. You want to get to that because if you got to certain things, you can move fast. I'm trying to remember the game, but there's like this objective, and then I realized I need to take that first. I have to concentrate on that first because I was like, I'll go around it. It took me too long. Now, would the strategy have worked if I had time? Probably, but but that's not the scenario. You must do it within. And I kept trying to do it my way. And then finally, I'm taking this, I'm throwing. I have to have my best units to take this, and then still have good enough units to push back where I had to. Yeah, that's a Unity command. Highly recommend. Let's go to the chat real quick because we have wardrobe. I love Steel Panthers in the day. I don't like computer wargaming, but that one I loved. Brad62, Warhammer Gladius, Relics of War is a great war game through. Though I'm not a sci-fi guy. Mm-hmm. I've seen that on Steam. I think I've seen that on Steam.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
That the sci-fi war gaming, I think you just have to lose yourself in that, meaning accept what it is if you like the strategy of the game. And I think that's what Brad's saying. I think.
It's sci-fi is not history based. 95% of wargaming is history based. I mean, you're replaying Normandy, you're replaying Battle of the Bulge, you're replaying, things that actually happened. Sci-fi wargaming is different because it didn't actually happen. So you have to. It's built for those players that can immerse themselves in the game and the system and role play what they, themselves in that universe.
Yeah. So, Wardrobe says, how's Atlantic Wall coming along?
He's making fun of me because of my game. He's making fun of me.
That's the one with the gazillion counters.
Yeah. He's, the 8 maps that I don't have space for and the 4,000 counters. But I do show, I got my new clippers.
IDJ, I'm going to turn it over to you for a second. I have to do something real quick.
Sure, good.
I have the helm, my friend.
All right, so let's talk about all kinds. Oh, he just literally left. All right. So how's everyone's going? How's everything going? We've been making the switch over to wargaming, having a lot of good fun. We've made a lot of good friends over there on the Wargaming channel. We also have our brand new Facebook group. If you're interested in wargaming and watching people's videos, the original Grognard, Wardrobe, all of our good friends in the wargaming community. So we have our new Facebook group. It's called Tack Up Wargaming. On Facebook, you can join our group and keep up on everything that's wargaming.
Send me the coordinates to your Facebook group. I would like to join.
Okay, I can do that
because I can find it on Facebook.
Yeah.
I don't use my real last name on Facebook because I got banned. That's another shit.
I'm surprised.
Brad says, Al, you tried close combat, which is real time. I've played the real-time combat I've played was the shooter type combat, and I don't want to go back to playing those because there's a lot of rude people who play those games. I played.
This is a little bit different.
Yeah, this is probably the strategy
where you have a camera over, and you're gonna. It's kind of like you ever play like Red Alert or something like that.
I've heard of Red Alert, but I have not played it.
StarCraft.
I've seen it.
Okay. So you got a camera and you're zoomed in on your guys, and then you can move them around the battlefield and do things with them.
Well, what's it called? Company of Heroes, the game. I've watched people play that. Is that the game? It's man, you have to react quick. My friend at work played very competitively with the Company of Heroes. I think it's called Company of Heroes.
Company of Heroes is a World War II.
Yep, that's it. And it's sort of
game, but yeah, it's like real time. Yeah.
That's insane. I've watched my friend played it a lot. My friend at work, Chris, and he was really good at it. And then I remember I said, I watched this video of this guy, and he goes, and he knew right away. He goes, I played against that guy. He goes, that guy is unbelievable. I go, I watched him put like the split seconds to do. And again, they know what they want. What they want to do. But just to see how quick, I have trouble playing against a computer because I'm like, okay, I want to do this. And my guys are over there. No, don't go there. I want you to be here. I used to enjoy I'll tell you another one that I enjoyed in wargaming, but then I bought them all on Steam. I didn't like them anymore, and I don't understand why. The Total War series, which I really like those, but for some reason the making, and I know you can do the hotkeys and stuff like that, but I was able to play them before when I was younger, and I just would quickly do a box around it. I just didn't have the coordination to quickly do it anymore. I was like, my God. My mind knows what it wants to do. It's just I can't get these guys to move quick enough to do what they want.
Right.
But you know what?
The thing about the close combat is it is much slower than all those other games.
Okay.
So this is literally like your guys are in a building, and you can click on them and then say, okay, I want you to run across the street to the other building, and you can literally sit there. And it'll take 45 seconds for you guys to climb down out of the building, run across the street, and then climb up the other building. So you do not have to be like super quick like all these young kids anymore.
Oh my God, I watched, and it was fun to watch. That I was like, wow, they move quick. And the strategy, I mean, I could understand what they're trying to do. It's a lot, flank them, suck them in. I watched one. I'm like, man, the guy does this move, and they all fall for. I mean, because he does it well. He just baits them. I can't remember the player's name, but I watched this when I was watching a lot of it because I wanted to learn the game. I was like, man, he baits them and they fall for it because they have the fog of war and they go too far. Like, just send one dude to go get. But he was smart. He always let the guy keep coming, and then whammy.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's experience for you. There's no
substitute for that.
There's no substitute for experience, not at all. I mean, when you know that stuff inside and out, you know how many hit points they have, how fast they move, how fast they shoot. I mean, that is it gives you a step up above.
What I found my favorite type of war gaming is I like the one, like you move the guy. It's like a board game basically, like Order of Battle. That's what I like. It has a nice, fun graphics to me for that type of style of game. They shoot at each other. There's booms and bangs, and it's colorful enough to me. There's enough graphics to it. I do like Lock and Load. I like just the noise of it, and I like that it's actual. With Order of Battle, it's little men. Yeah. With Lock and Load, it's like you're playing
with the counters and
the counter. And again, you could talk. If anyone has questions about counters and all that stuff, you ask IDJ. I'm just saying I enjoy a game. It has the sounds and a little visual. Actually, I like the maps are nice to look at, and it has the hexes. That's what I'm looking for. I like the hex type of wargaming. That's what I enjoy. Like I said, Total War. I used to really enjoy those. I just don't like them even against a computer. I'm like, I don't like them anymore. It's the visuals really cool and stuff. I had a couple of Civil War ones similar to that, not Total War, but I think like the one that Devin's playing, because again, it's hexes, but there has the sound effect. I mean, for PC gaming, the sound effects, a little bit of the visual, and that helps me immerse myself in it.
Yeah.
Where
I mean, do you want the ones where you can sit and think about do I want to move this guy over here? If I do that, then this unit can come around this way. And not be pressured where I got to do all this within a certain amount of time.
Yeah. Because when I play war games offline, I literally will have a cup of tea or a cup of coffee. I'm just sitting there enjoying it, and I make mistakes and I get defeated. But I usually can. I've been lucky. The few of them I've played and put online, because I've learned quickly, at least that scenario. And the games I put online, I actually sort of know historically. Not that I'm an expert, but I know what happened, so I can sit there. And the PC is going to do basically what the enemy, whoever side you're playing, obviously the other side's the enemy, they're going to do what the enemy did. I'm sitting there going, well, I know your playbook. I know your playbook, man. So, but again,
I know what you're going to do before you do it.
That doesn't mean I'm going to stop him, because I can still make a move that's a mistake. You still have to get to certain points that if I get here, I'm okay. I'm okay. Right. You got to watch for the counterattack. John Tiller games, because they look really fun, but to me, they're not user friendly. I'm probably totally wrong with that. I'm talking on the PC, because I remember talking to Devin. I go, I don't understand why I can't move there. It's wide open. It says I can move X amount of spaces, but it's not letting me move there. Or maybe I'm just not getting how to move it there. It should be a little more. If I was John Tiller, I would, for me, and again, maybe they've done this because I wanted to buy, like I think Brad brought up, there's a DNBN food game. So I downloaded the free, which is nice. I like gaming companies that let you download a demo version to see if you like their game. And I watched people play it. I enjoy watching people play it. For some reason, probably me, because I don't get it right away on how to do certain things. I'm like, you know what? I don't want to spend the time to do this. Tell me about John Tiller games.
John Tiller games are not an introductory wargaming system. They are friendly for the player to play them, because you can basically just do whatever you want, and you can screw it up, and you can constantly lose, and you'll not win, and it might frustrate people. That's why I'm saying it's not a good introductory wargaming system, because there are a lot of things under the hood that you have to learn about and do and experience to get anywhere good with John Tiller games. So I would not recommend them to beginners for someone that's trying to get into wargaming. I think the Lock and Load Tactical is a good introductory system. I think Order Battle, we've talked about that. I think even Unity of Command is pretty good.
Yeah,
Panzer Core 2, which just came out, is really good and is only getting better and better and better. So that might be something for you. That is a step up from basic for those people that have just a little bit of wargaming experience, that want to try something a little bit harder. But I think you get a lot of value for your money with that one. I think there's random scenarios. So you could just say, I'm going to take the British and create a random scenario, or you can actually play, the scenarios that are built in the game. So there's a lot of replayability, and it doesn't cost that much. And
I think that's the important thing. Find the game that's good for you. That's just like in sports gaming. Find the game that makes you happy.
Right.
Don't care what anyone else says. Don't get upset about it. Someone might not like your game that you play. It makes you happy. That's cool. So,
right.
And I found, like I said, I like Order of Battle. I like Lock and Load. I still got to learn it better, be more proficient at it. And but I like it'd be hilarious if I showed you my Steam, how many war games I buy, and I play a little bit, and like, well, this one stinks. It's not that I lose. I don't care if I lose. I just want to understand. I'm like, I don't get it. I don't get it.
Well, let me ask you a question.
Yes.
Do you go through the tutorials that are
that's my faux pas.
Yeah.
I have a bad.
Too many people jump right in and say, let's go scenario 1, let's go. And then they don't know what they're doing. They get frustrated and mad and they quit.
Yeah. No, I don't.
Because they don't go through the tutorial and learn the game.
I highly recommend go through the tutorials.
That'd be my number one recommendation for new players is definitely with the tutorials.
Very bad habit. I want to jump in because I like what I read. I like whatever scenario I bought. I just want to play. And so my next question is, again, so if it was board gaming, I don't, I get some of those games have these thick rule books or pamphlets, which are sometimes thick. That would be, what would be a good introductory? Would it be the same thing like a lock and load for a board game, for a good introductory game?
Okay, for introductory wargaming, it does not matter the size of the manual. Okay, that is a misconception. So this game here, that I was playing last night.
Yeah.
Okay, the manual for this game is 8 pages long.
Okay. Is it well written? I guess would be
8 pages long, and that's with a page of designer notes. It's basically.
It's colorful. I like it.
That's it. That's the rules, right? But this game is a lot more complex. I would highly not recommend this for a newbie because the counter density is pretty high, and your understanding of some of the more advanced rules like zones of control, advanced after combat, there's some special rules usually with each of the different modules. So this is not, even though this is just 8 pages of rules, you can read this in 10 minutes and be up and running. You're not going to be up and running on this. So what makes a good introductory war game is not the rules set. It is basically how interwoven the rules are for the units you're playing with.
Question.
So if, for example, if you were to sit down and teach someone chess,
yes,
and every single piece did the same thing, you move 1 space or you move 2, everyone can learn that in 2 minutes.
It's the strategy of it.
Right? But if you tell me, okay, well, some units can move 1 space, some units can move 2 spaces. This guy can move diagonal.
Yeah.
This guy can only go sideways and up and down. This one can only go 2 forward and 1 to the side.
The original military strategy.
All of a sudden, you've taken a very simple game and you made it very complex by adding all that extra weaving layers.
Great way to explain it.
So what makes a good introductory game is the fact that if you have a unit that can do one thing and you have another unit can do one thing, that makes it a good introductory game. Because you don't have 20 different things that these guys have to figure out how to weave in between. And, well, if this unit can do this, how does it affect this other thing? And if this unit can route, which way does he have to route? And how does he have to route? And blah, blah, blah. So introductory wargaming, it doesn't matter the amount of the rules. It matters how complex the units' interactions are together. That's what makes ASL one of the more complex games, is the fact that you're interweaving the amount of what these units can do into one another that makes them very complex.
Wardrobe says
Memoir
battle cries is easiest.
Well, I was going to say a good introductory system would be the command and colors system. So command and colors is the actual system that Battlecry and Memoirs uses.
That's what Brad said.
There we go. That's a great introductory system because you're not going to have a lot of counters. You're going to have a variety. You can play either ancients, you can play medieval, you can play Napoleonics, you can play World War II. So once you understand the basic concepts, and it is card assisted, which means you're going to have a hand of cards in your hand, and you're going to play a card, and it's going to tell you what you can do. So it might say activate 1 unit, or another card might say activate 2 units, or you might get a card that says activate 3 units that are adjacent to one another. So it kind of builds the the basic wargaming mechanics that you need to learn so you can get them into higher and higher games.
Again, those are those are Memoir, Battle Cry, and
Command Colors. Command Colors is the name of the system that Battle Cry and Memoirs uses. So those two are the same thing. It's just called differently. So it's a really good introductory system.
Battle Cry is the actual name of the company, or
no? Battle Cry is the Battle Cry is the Civil War version of it.
Okay, got it.
Okay. Yep. Memoirs is the World War II version, and they're both the versions of the Command and Color system.
So Command and Color is the game name.
It's the system name, yes. But you got Memoir 44. You got the Napoleonics, you have the Battle Cry.
And those are the scenarios.
These are the different these are the different errors built in this game.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Understand. And that's tabletop?
Yeah, it's tabletop. You can actually there's a World War I version you can get on Steam. I actually own it and I played a scenario, and it's not the greatest, but it's not bad either. But it's a good introductory thing. So I don't think they have anything besides a World War I version, but it's called what's it called? I forget the name of it, but anyways, so that's a good introductory system. Another good thing I would recommend is for people that are into basic wargaming is there are a lot, and I mean a really good variety now. 10 years ago, this was not true, okay? Nowadays, you can get really good solo gaming systems that are fun and interesting to play. And the best thing is when you're playing with your, solo,
yep,
you have to play for both sides. And that turns a lot of people off. If you buy a solo game,
you're playing one side.
You're playing one side.
That was like what I asked her.
The game is playing against you.
That's pretty cool. And before we go any farther, I have to say hello to our good friend Comics with Bueller. Please check out that wonderful channel. One of the nicest people on YouTube, Comics with Bueller, along with our good friend. They do the BS show with. I went brain dead. Why do I go brain dead?
He's like, every episode with him is buy this Spider-Man because it's worth like, so much. Or what do they call them? The key comics.
Yeah.
Figure out which key comics are worth the most. And
I tell you what,
stuff like
I got me. He did Sam. Thank you. I go brain dead. I don't get old, people. I love Sam too. That is one of the funniest. I gotta catch more of those. You know what it is. I enjoy watching so many YouTubers, and I'm like, you make the rounds of what you're watching. You can't watch everything. Some people are like, oh, you didn't come watch my. I can't. I try to watch as much as I can.
Right.
Right. I listen, but yeah, the BS show with Comics with Bueller and Sam is fun. He did an auction. It's one of the rare times that I actually have the comics here. They're pretty cool. I got these comics for $20 and they're nice to look. And I'm not a big comic book person, but it was a fun little thing. I said, and I'm waiting. I want to give them to my nephew, and it came really nice and stuff. So yeah, Comics with Bueller and the BS show at Sam is good comedy. They should go on the road. They should have a show.
Right.
It's very entertaining. It's like he'll go to Sim and goes, I didn't know that. And it's good. It's good give and take. It's just really fun.
And they know, we talked earlier about
the BS show is coming to an end. Just 2 more episodes. Oh, I got to catch. Oh man.
Uh-oh.
Oh, well, I hope everything's okay with you and Sam. And I hope Sam's all right. But yeah, the BS show is fun. But he's one of the. Let me tell you something. He helped out a lot of smaller channels than himself, and he still continues to do that. Comics with Bueller, heck of a nice guy. He helped me out. He helped me put me over the top with 1,000 subs. It was awesome. And if you can check him out, his shows, you can. Okay, this is going to bring me hate probably. So let me phrase this properly. I like going to his channel because there's absolutely no pressure to do nothing except enjoy. I'll leave it at that.
There you go.
New shows in the works. We're all good. Excellent. So back to the war. I just had it because it's been a while since I've been, and we're going to get back to, I'm going to want to get Comics with Bueller on, Sam on. We'll go with the late night chat with Al's, which are a little more.
I was going to say to the audience out there that we had talked before we got online, and I'm like, you need to get back into doing more regular live streaming because a lot of people really enjoy that stuff.
But you see, I don't like doing them alone because it's not fun. I like to have, like, if you were like, yeah, I'll do them every other week, or I'll do them once every third week.
You've got plenty of people that would. You got the OG. You got Tabletop Sports Delaware.
Yeah.
You got
you're bit, it's
Wardrobe.
Fun.
Wardrobe came.
Wardrobe's funny. Let me tell you something.
Came on with me. If he comes on with me,
no. You don't know. He was. We did a stream. We did a stream one time. It went to like 4 a.m. I lied to you. And it was almost 4 a.m. And it was at the end. It was me and then Todd Wardrobe. He came on and we talked. And it was just hilarious. They did a thing. Again, it's not. I forgot what game, but they're playing against each other. And I'm a big cartoon guy when I was a kid. And Looney Tunes had the two chipmunks that drove everyone nuts, or the two gophers, right? And they were very polite. No, you go first. No, you go. And they're like, I knew what they were trying to do. They're trying to make the other person so they could counter them. And he was like, no, Devin, you go. I'll pass. And Devin's like, no, you. They weren't talking like that, but I remember going, you guys remind me of the Gophers, because I'm like, for God's sake, someone shoot someone. But it was a lot of fun. And I said, you guys have to get back to. I tell you what I like. And again, everyone has their own channels. Do what you want. But when I see people playing again, like the wargaming, and they're enjoying it though. Not like antagonists, just enjoying it. And that was one of the fun things. That your show you have with, and I always say swordsman because I forget the first part. And you had Devin, you had Todd on another time. I love that stuff. And you weren't playing, but you're talking it. And it's a lot of fun. I feed off of why I like Comics with Bueller, why I like you, why I like Uncle Dave Gardner and Ron Juckett and King Icky Boo and Sports Time Machine, so on and so forth, baseball demos. I'm going to forget. I can't name everybody. I'm trying to name everybody. The passion, it's just the way they enjoy whatever they're playing. I like when people enjoy what they're playing. It's fun.
Remember, I did a live interview chat with a lot of our sports simmers out there. Yep. I'm sure a lot of them would also get on and do Well, literally, I had like 2 or 3 months every week. I was doing it with somebody. You can find people. You did like a legitimate. There's no excuse that you can't give us that would not tell us that you can do this. We know you can do it.
When we had King Icky Boo on that one, and if he had time, he would come back. It's tough to get. You have your own life and stuff. I remember going, listen, I won't do these things. I just want you to come on because a lot of people want to talk. He goes, oh no, man, I love your show. It's funny. Whatever you want to talk about. And it's fun. Like same thing with comics. When I know what I want to say is Comics with Bueller when he came on, right? And he's like, no, anything. I don't care. He goes, if I don't want to talk, and we just have fun with it. I got away from certain things. I decided I don't care on certain subjects what side you're on. I want to make you laugh. So I got with, even though I did it with comedy, it pissed people off and you get the blah, blah. Okay, whatever. But it's about making people laugh, that show. And it was a lot of fun. And I tell you, the funnest times I had when you get 3-4 people out there. We actually, this goes back, it was myself, Ron, Chris, Tabletop Delaware, and our good friend, The Dog Show, when he was still on YouTube. And we actually came up, we wrote like some stuff. And we were like starting to do it. And you could see everyone going, this ain't fun. And we just went, let's ad lib everything like we normally do. And it was fun. It's just something that's fun. I like to get back to it.
You need to get back to it because
I think people enjoyed it, and
people enjoyed it. People
I enjoyed
look forward to it. I mean, you can get on your site ahead of time, and there's like 10 people waiting for you to start the live stream. So
and for me, that's cool.
People enjoyed it. And one funny thing about wardrobe is, so the other night, maybe a couple weeks ago, maybe a month ago, whatever it was a while ago, playing something and it's late and I'm like, God, it's like 1:30 in the morning. I got to go to bed. And I'm getting ready to log off and I get a message that wardrobe is live streaming. So I said, I'll just pop in real quick. It's like 1:40 in the morning. And here he is painting his little miniatures and talking wargaming. And I'm like, dude, man, you're up at like 1:40 in the morning.
I did a thing with Todd. I couldn't sleep. Here's the other thing. First of all, I want to say thank you to all the YouTubers I follow, because when I was going through tough times with personal situations with my parents and stuff, and I had trouble sleeping, I'd listen, and it'd be live. There was one time Todd was on in one of those crazy times, right? And it's not crazy time if that's when you want to game. Hey, I've gamed early morning too. And I was rolling. He was like, I'm having horrible luck. He goes, Al, roll the dice and tell me what they like. I actually went on the channel. I put the camera down and I was rolling the dice and we were playing the game together. What he does is really cool. I mean, different work. It's miniatures. And a lot of people get into that. Is that anything you've ever thought? Again, you got to have the area, but it's
I could never get into miniatures. No. It's a different animal.
Yep.
It's a different world. It's a lot of investment in time, money, and resources again. So that would, even a wargamer and miniatures are two different things. If you do both, you can talk to wardrobe about this when you have them on. It takes a lot of time to just.
I watch him. He would come on and just talk, and he would be painting, and I'd sit there, I'd chat away, I'd listen. A lot of times I'm just listening, but I want to make sure people, not for my benefit, but sometimes you go there and you're listening, and you realize no one's jumped in the chat, and there's like 7 people watching. Hey, how's it going? But there's another gentleman from the UK, Ralph, and I'm going to mess up his name, Ashley, but he big into miniatures, and he's doing a Foreign Legion one now, Beau Jest. It's literally on the book Beau Jest in the movie. I never read the book, but he recommended it. I've seen different versions of them. It's a Foreign Legion. I saw the Gary Cooper version, and I saw another version in the 60s. It's a adventure movie, but it's the Foreign Legion, and the miniatures, and he does some gaming, but he's mostly showing up the modeling of it. And it's an expensive thing, but it's just interesting to listen. Sometimes I don't watch the whole, like I'll speed it up a little bit because sometimes they're a little long, but I don't mind. Or I'll watch them in segments, but it's really interesting. That was always, I was like, oh, that's cool. But I did look up. I was like, I'd like to get some of those models. I was like, man, they're expensive. So, but it's just, they're neat to look at. It's not something but they're fun to look at. But so that is a different beast. You're right. Because
it's something I just,
he
builds, I don't have patience for that. I don't.
He builds the huge tabletop map, and he has the tape measure out, and it's this and it's that, and it's just.
You got an 8x6x8 table or 6x10 table or whatever it is.
Ping pong table, if I remember right. He talked about it once.
He was building like one of the little houses the one time I went in there, and it's a lot of extra work to do all that stuff.
But yeah, he was fun to have on. And again, it was me and Deb, and literally we talked till 4 a.m. It was hilarious. We just talked wargaming.
Yeah, I could see him because like I said, at 1:40 he was raring to go, and I'm like, dude, I gotta go, man. I'm sorry, but I gotta go to bed. He was like drinking his coffee, and he was up.
Now, you've brought a lot of games again to the sports community, and I want to say thank you to that and you give your opinion, honest opinion, whether you agree or you disagree with you give to me a fair opinion with your arguments. And I always say, if you come to debate ID, you better be prepared. but you did a rating. People loved it. Again, whether they agreed or disagreed, people loved it. You rated baseball games, which was fun. And again, I have my favorites. I like to play what I like to play. I tell everyone, play what you like to play. Are you going to do something similar with that with war game? You know what I'm talking about because you did. You literally had cheers.
I have been debating about whether or not I'm going to actually do reviews for wargaming or not.
What about just what you enjoy? I shouldn't. I mean, it's like a review, but it's not.
I don't play that way. I mean, I don't want to just pick and choose the ones that I like to talk about and to bring on. I mean, I think, you know, I want to be fair across the board.
Yep.
And you know, some people get rubbed off the wrong way on, you know, just like in the sports game community. I'm sure I upset a lot of people. And yeah, I know it's hard to believe. It's hard for me to believe myself.
When you were
gamers, I did a live unboxing a couple weeks ago of a game, and I basically went off on the manufacturer about the game components and the cost, because they released the first edition, full price. They released the second edition. They charged the owners of the first edition $45 to upgrade to the new edition.
I remember I caught the end of that.
And I was not a happy camper about that, because there's other manufacturers that released updates for their games for free, or if you buy a game, we'll ship you the update for whatever it costs us to print it, $5 or $10, something reasonable. But to charge a full price for your customers that already previously bought your game reminded me of a sports game company that with all that came back, and I went off, and some people posted messages about, oh man, I thought you were gonna, you know, get all bent out of shape about this. I can't believe that this is just a hobby. I'm like, you know what? I heard the same thing from the sports game community.
And again, everyone's entitled to their opinion, but when you said that, and then you kind of brought up with that with Swordsman and original Grognard, I think I actually typed in the chat, go, oh wow, ID found a new
I saw your post.
It was just funny. I was like, I said, oh, if I could just be on for a split second with those guys, just to give me, because it was funny.
Yeah. As far as reviewing for wargaming, I just do it. Okay, so I went down that road with the sports gaming, and although that's the way I am, and people understood that, and a lot of people appreciated it. It also pissed off some people. Okay. So I've been debating about, do I go down that road with the wargaming as well? I don't want to piss off a lot of people unnecessarily.
No, I understand that.
You know what I'm saying? Some people might take the things I say the wrong way because they don't know me. They don't understand the way I am. I'm going to tell you the way I feel about something. And if you don't like it, go watch somebody else. And, you know, I'm debating if it's worth going down that road.
Don't do it then. I guess, and I don't want you to do that. I enjoyed your ratings, whether I agreed all the time. And actually, because there's some games that we talked about before, the Dice Baseball. It's literally called Dice Baseball. Had they put slightly more effort into it, they're a little too much chart heavy with certain things where you had to roll. And I enjoy that game. I have to tell you, I actually enjoy that game. It's just really, me, when I got proficient at that for streaming wise, I played it a lot in a row because then I memorized it. You stop playing that game and you're like, oh crap, I got to look at that chart. It slows things down. But that is a very fun game. But you had said, like, I remembered what you had said. And I said, that makes so much sense because I felt the same way. Why can't they just come up with you should have come up with something quicker than sitting there going, if it's this, and then you have to roll again. So
yeah, that's one of those game systems that somebody needs to sit down and recreate these charts and make them simple and easy. And I had some ideas about things to fix that game because it's a really good game.
it actually
And
is.
it can flow really, really good. It's the other bull that slows it down. It's like another example for me is Deep Drive Baseball. Good game. The charts are horrible and they need to be redesigned. Somebody can fix this. The designer can fix it or whatever. It might be great for other people, but for me, it's not.
No, I agree. No, but and I don't want to get into that. I just want to give an example. So, Wardrobe, our good friend Todd. Let's get to this. Let me read it. Oh boy, Pendraken Miniatures printed and sold 3rd edition Blitzkrieg Commander, and there were lots of errors and some army list issues. They are the entire print run and gave all 3rd edition buyers copies of the 4th edition.
So what he's saying there is they messed
charge
up the 3rd edition.
Yeah.
They re-released it with the 4th edition, and everyone that bought the previous edition got the 4th edition for free.
Right.
For me, and I've always talked about Stratomatic, great game, great system. It's the company that's the issue, right? Print run amazingly. They basically 8 to 20 to 25,000. Yeah. So for me, it's the company behind the games.
I agree.
That make just as much importance as what the games are to begin with.
We talked offline about something, and I finally had enough with something. I'm not going to get into it here because I don't want to bring it into that thing. But yeah, the company's very important. Customer service is very important. Their game should work on the PC. Obviously, a card and dice game, if you buy it, you're buying it. If you don't understand it, oh, well, you bought it. That's the way I look at it. You took a shot, wasn't free. I've done that. I bought sports games or other games. Not for me.
Right.
I paid for it. I'm not buying it. Nothing against it. It's just not for me. But when you buy a game for a PC and it doesn't even run, when it ran on your old PC and the other games that you brought over, you had to have your friends from the IT department, which is a computer, IT, some people call it. My friends in the computer department at the company I work at had to help me figure out the issue.
Yeah, that's a problem.
Yeah. Anyway, so how are you? You're enjoying your wargaming. I can see you're happy again.
I miss the sports gaming. I miss, to be honest, I miss the guys, right? I miss talking with them.
Throw us a bone once a month. Do a special game.
You think I should?
Once a month. Because
I might
and play the game you want.
Whatever. I sold a bunch of stuff, but I actually kept a bunch of stuff as well. So, I mean, maybe once a month or whatever, we'll have a special.
One game you can pick. You can try to beat the Cubs and Red Sox every month, and we'd be happy to come watch.
The best times it really is when I was doing the live stream and just talking with everyone that comes in between you and Clinton Parks and Dave Gardner and Ron Juckett and baseball demos and tabletop sports and sports time machine. I mean, the list goes on and on and on and on. And and CP cards and dice. I don't want to leave anyone out. So
we have a small community. It's a fun community, and there's a lot of people. And sometimes when you're trying to mention everyone, you forget. I forget. But Uncle Ron Juckett, congratulations, 3 years streaming, and he's doing a good job. Great job. He's on Twitch. He's on YouTube. He brought it up. I was thinking, it'd be fun. And he brought it up. He said, come back and just do a game now and then, if you want. And you don't have to, whatever game. What makes you happy? I've learned, I like to try things and put stuff on the channel. And I'm like, I kind of want to just play these games because I like them. But people like other games, and you try to get, you want people to come and enjoy. And it's when you do something and you're like when I do my boxing, I don't get, actually lately it's been pretty good, but I enjoy that the most just because it's my favorite.
About your boxing, you've done a lot of boxing.
Yeah.
In the last couple months, you've been pretty regularly doing.
I love Glory Days boxing. It's fabulous. Anthony did a wonderful job. For me, the game creation of Glory Days Boxing. I've tried to create a football game. I've changed it it's just something I like to do every now and then. Glory Days Boxing to me flows. It's very easy to understand. If you're a boxing fan, again, if you're not a boxing fan, is it going to appeal to someone? Some people might say no, but it could, because Steeler fan, who's in a lot of chats, he hadn't followed boxing in years, he said, and he saw the game played. It flows. You understand. It's everything on the card with it. Sometimes you look at the chart. And again, if it's not, I can envision, do I make mistakes? I still make mistakes sometimes because you're rolling. When I play offline, I make mistakes. The thing when you play offline, you can correct your mistakes. Sometimes I make a mistake and I'm like, you know what? For me to correct this now, it ruins I'm rolling. I'm trying to be as accurate as possible, but it's going to ruin the story. Meaning for me to go, and I've done it before. I said, I've made a mistake. This is too big of a mistake. I've done it rolling strat baseball where by accident it's a home run, but I look at the wrong column, meaning he's a weak hitter. I had one of the greatest home run calls the other night. I'm like, then I went, oh, nuts. Foul ball. Mistake fixed. But yeah, it'd be, if you want, it'd be fun. We miss you. I like the board gaming stuff too.
Like you said, the best time I had playing the game wasn't actually playing the game. It was hanging out with you guys and just chatting back and forth and all the camaraderie and teasing back and forth and everything. But the problem is, if you jump back in the rabbit hole, how far down do you go?
I don't want you to jump far down. I just, if you want, because
you say that, right? You're just like
we're getting emails from me.
You're just like what is it? The hair that's in. Come here, Alice. Come here.
Just a little farther, ID. Join the dark side again.
Just one time.
And your wife will kill me. I don't need these.
One time. That's all.
But we miss you. I still come to your.
I know you do. You know what stinks though when I don't catch them right away and I have to sit there and okay, what scenario is it? Because I don't want to sit there and go, what are you playing? Because you're already playing. I don't want to stop and make you say, what are you playing? What's the scenario? So I just kind of sit and watch and okay, I got what they're playing. But yeah, with wargaming, not that you shouldn't if you jump in halfway. I always, when I go to a wargaming, whether it's OG, well, he has it on demand so I can start from the beginning. But when you catch something live, I'm like, okay, I don't want to start asking questions because not that it's annoying. I don't want to annoy anyone. I don't want to bother anyone in chat. I sit there and I'm trying to read. Okay, what's he playing? Not like what's the scenario. I don't care what game anyone's playing because I wouldn't know anyway. Right.
But yeah, that's the thing with that where sometimes I'm watching for a while, then I'll say hi because I'm trying to figure out. And again, because that's not my expertise, I'm not an expert at anything, but because that's definitely not my expertise, I'm watching and enjoying, and I get the enjoyment from watching you have fun. And like, that's what I enjoy and I said it already, from any YouTuber. And we have our good friend, Tabletop Sports Delaware, Chris.
Look at who.
Appa Brian.
Appa Brian. Oh, nice.
Wonderful channels. Check them out. If you haven't subscribed, please do so. Again, YouTube in all their wisdom. Oh, please ask all questions. It's like a sports broadcast. It's always good to announce what's happened. I agree, but I don't want to bother anybody. I found when I first went into, I think it was Devin and Todd. I was like, that's, I think, how I met Devin, because he answered my question. Because I was like, oh, this is cool. So I wanted to ask a question. But I didn't know if I was annoying the people, because I didn't try to ask too many questions. I just wanted to understand because I was getting back into looking at wargaming. And that's how I met OG, the original Grognard, how I met Todd. And they were very nice to me. They answered the question. Some people might go in when someone's playing and they're streaming, whether it's a sports game or war game. I try to answer. I'd rather not answer questions when I'm streaming a game. Like, leave them in the comments. I've helped people. I've given them links. I've sent them files on things that, here's a file. Like I put it up where anyone can get access to it. But sometimes when I'm streaming, I don't know how it is with you. I try to answer questions, but sometimes when the people ask the same, you know what? I'm going to stop right there because I'm going to go down a rabbit hole and I don't want to go down there. But anyhow.
Those rabbit holes, man, you got to watch out for them. I'm telling you.
Beers, Dan 007. Yeah, but again, Beatles likes to play out. I like out of the ballpark too, and Beatles does an excellent job with it. And he's very knowledgeable about baseball. It's a lot of fun. You got to play the games you like. You got to. The thing with out of the ballpark, not that I'm a shill for them. One price, you get everything. That's a nice thing. It might not. Here's what I say: if the what do they call it? If the close engine bothers you a lot, don't get those games. Because don't get those games. It's not for you. It's just not. You're not going to enjoy it. It doesn't bother me. There are times I love rolling the dice because I want to see it. And there are other times I want to see the animation. It depends what I feel like. To me, out of the ballpark, and I'm going to do this because I keep saying I'm going to in my mind, but I'm going to do this. I'm going to take X amount of games. I'm going to sim the same season as played, and we're going to see how close. Again, I've watched a lot of people do projects.
Yeah.
It never comes exact. Strat, from what I've seen, a lot of times comes the closest, and it's not always going to be perfect.
That is a great project. That is a great.
I'm going to take one season ID. I've been thinking about it. I just don't know how to present it. I think I have to just.
I wouldn't even.
I think I have
to do like a whole season. I think maybe like take
I'm not going to play
20 games of the season or something.
I'm going to literally sim the whole season, but I think I'll just do it offline and so we hear the results. Or I could do a see. I've been thinking about it, and anyone else who wants to do the project, let's just see how it works.
I was going to say, you know what? If you can get 4 or 5 people, and each guy play the same season, but you play a different game, you can see the progression of the stats and how
what I've noticed in every sports sim, and we had talked with Dave Gardner and Ron Juckett mostly about this. The 1978 Red Sox are very difficult to get. Our good friend, oh God, why do I go brain dead? Eric, Higher Ground Gaming. He came to close, and he played Strat PC, and that was the closest I seen to where they had decent results with the. Because when you look at the 78 Red Sox, they're good. I know they won 99 games. That's my favorite. I'm a Red Sox fan, right?
No, really?
I am.
Are you sure?
I'm sure. When you try to play that season, though, and I've played it in different things, it's like their pitching, which is mediocre, and that's being kind. It just kills you all the way through that season. You're sitting there, you're just not winning the games that they won in real life. And that could be because I found that with 78 and 77, I could not duplicate. Now, when I did the 77 Red Sox, 77 Mets on Action PC, I was managing them, so I had better results because I was playing. And I'll tell you something. When you play with a bad team, it's fun. If they have some talented players and you sit there and you go, well, I ain't going to do what they did. They lost. They only won 64 games. I'm playing go-go Mets baseball. We're playing all kinds of shenanigans. Mm-hmm. It's fun. Okay. Mm-hmm. But I want to see which one comes closest. Just to see. Because every time I've done this off with my own thing, what I have found is any team that was good but had shaky, mediocre pitching, we'll say, they usually there's usually a swap of 2 of those teams. Like when I did 77, totally offline for my own, out of the ballpark, I just simmed the whole season. Mm-hmm. As played, because you can play that out of the ballpark. It's as played transactions. People don't realize that you can. Because you don't have to do any of the trades. You don't, just let it play out. I did it twice. The Red Sox always swapped. One time it was Cleveland, and I forgot the other team. But it was like they had the same. When you just swap those teams, it's like that team had the results, the other team. And then I go to look, the Red Sox lost every freaking close game they were in because of their shitty pitching. Mm-hmm. So anyway.
Well, our replay PC baseball.
I just picked that up.
You can sim that whole season.
I'm gonna.
And everyone tells me that sim it 25 times, yep. And then figure out after 25 games, keeps the stats, and then average everything up and find out how close it was.
So we have some more people in the chat here. Again, our good friend, Mr. Utah Mike, still listening. Thank you very much.
Yeah, right. Good
Oh,
for you.
17 walks. I was playing out of the ballpark. I'm sitting there going, I forgot what the hell. I think I was playing as the Reds. It was either a World Series or the Red. I think it was the Red. I'm sitting there going, walk after walk. And I'm pitching to like you could pitch to contact, and they're still walking the guys, but their pitching was horrific. Whatever team I was, that was. And again, here's our friend Mike from Super Bowl Tournament. Pro Strategy Football 21's coming out soon. Uncle Ron Junkett and myself are working with Super Bowl Tournament channel to bring you some fun broadcasting of that game. So please, if you haven't subbed Super Bowl Tournament, check it out. It's going to be a lot of fun. We have the Hall of Fame game is up on Super Bowl Tournament channel, and that was between the 78 Steelers and the 92 or 93 Cowboys. I forgot. And I did the broadcast with Uncle Ron. Uncle Ron, play-by-play, and I provide crappy colored commentary, but it's fun. But check that out. So, but yeah.
It sounds like fun there.
Yeah, it's a good game. I love that game. So
how is
yes, sir.
So I want to get your opinion, your thoughts, and I don't know any of the answers, so you can go as long as you want.
Okay.
So I quit my sports simming this year of all years. This is the year we don't have the sports when I quit back in April, right? So how is sports simming and watching sports this year going compared to, like, if I would have quit last year when it was a normal year, it would have been a totally different situation than it is because of
my channel had more views earlier on. Just people were looking for stuff, and maybe I entertained them. I got some more subs. It was really cool. And then when real sports came back, I think people went to watch that. I think some people got disenfranchised with stuff because maybe they just wanted to watch sports. I'm in agreement with them there. But I continue to do it. There was a drop off when sports came back a little bit. And to me, it's picking up again. Again, I'm a small channel, so I know what I like for a video. I have an idea what a game. I'm talking like if I do strat, I'm going to get decent views if the game's fun. Game's a blowout. What can you do? I'm going to talk. I'm going to do, and I've come to a thing. Listen, I try to get my games done as quickly as possible. I'm going to enjoy it. I'm going to talk to the chat. Here's the thing that annoys me, ID, with YouTube. And thank you, YouTube, for giving us a platform where we can do things. It's free. I appreciate that. My live chats are not showing up anymore, and I have everything. I have to wait 2-3 days. I have to send messages upon messages saying, hey, my live chat's not showing up. I have everything clicked the same. The other thing that annoys me with YouTube is now I say, hey, go check out this fun channel. They used to, you could click on the 3 buttons and you could go to that channel. So when I'm talking or ID saying, hey, check out that channel, it's a fun channel, you could go and see if it's something you might want to check and sub. You can't do that anymore. And guess what? If you search for Sports Time Machine and I say search for Sports Time Machine, even if it's there, you type it in and you're trying to find it, it's really difficult to find. If you type in Al RedSoxFan in the YouTube search, it's really difficult to find. Even if you type it exact, everything else comes up in the world. So YouTube, if you're listening, and I know you're not, go back, be a little more friendly to the smaller channels. And you know what? We could make you money if you let us make you money. We have the audience. That's all I'm saying. But yeah, so
it's been
good. It's been fun. I got
down a little bit.
I met some new
views and viewership and
going on Facebook helped out a lot. Something I wasn't going to ever do, but I just Facebook with friends, and I just try to keep up fun stuff. But I joined like sports, Dave Little's sports simulation groups, fun. Digital Dice, fun. Glory Days Boxing, where I moderate the page. Anthony trusts me enough to moderate the page, and I appreciate that. Fun. And there's a couple other ones, Pine Tar Base, fun. So that's where I like to read everyone's projects. That's fun to me. A quick read of a project, and just you can see the enjoyment again that they're sharing it. Whether it's quick play. I'm going to be honest. I played some quick play games now and then, and they're fun. I never thought I'd enjoy those games, but if you find the right one for you, you might. I enjoy it. It's just something different. I like different. That's why what messes me up sometimes, and I can usually always go back to Strat or Pine Tar Baseball because I kind of know the rules, but I still mess the rules up. But when I try, like I bought a new game, I'm playing it here and there, board tabletop. I'm saying, all right. I'm like, you know what? It's okay. It's not a bad game, but I'm not gonna play this a lot. I'm glad I've learned not to buy a gazillion seasons with something new, unless I really think I'm gonna like it. Because I have a bad habit. I have more stuff. Disregard the PC stuff that I'll never get to. I have finally learned, ID, that if there's a Steam sale, I don't have to buy everything.
Yeah, you still are.
I have PC games I will never play. But I go look at them. I'm like, I have it.
Right.
I can sleep at night. I have that game.
Yeah, exactly. It's the if I don't get it now and I decide later I want it, I have to pay a lot more. So I might as well get it now.
That's what I do. I'm sitting there going, Teresa laughs. She goes, just buy it now. You might play it. So, but anyway.
Well, Rough Swordsman always says his thing is it's illegal to take something out of your shopping cart. So once you put it in your shopping cart, you're legally obligated to buy it.
Let's go in the chat here. We got some good stuff. Bears Dan 007. I'm enjoying Bleacher Bums and RJL 1921 Payoff. Yeah, a lot of fun. Payoff Pitch, very good system. Again, I've played it. I enjoyed it. But there's other people playing it, and they do it much better than I do. And so I have that. And it's fun. Again, why do I watch those channels? Do I watch everything? No, I can't. It's an impossibility. I've told ID this. I love watching his channel and other people's channel because if you're getting enjoyment from here's the thing, my recommendation if you do YouTube, sports. We'll leave it at sports. And then ID was going to probably, I'll ask him his recommendation if you're doing military strategy. If you're doing sports, do a game you like. Don't expect, God bless you if you get 1 million views. I hope you do. And make $1 gazillion. Because I can say, I knew him when. And you could throw us a bone. That'd be cool. Do something that makes you happy, but you have to know the game. So when I went back to card and dice, because I wanted to play it, and I was playing it offline, it'd be fun. People like watching this. I don't have the camera set up. I do it the best I can. And I'm looking into that too. But again, like ID will tell you, our hobby is our hobby. It's not my job. So I have to look at things like, do I want to buy a better camera or do I want to buy a new game? I usually choose the new game because I want to try it. And then after I don't find out the game's not for me, I should have just put it in the camera fund and I have a camera by now. But anyhow, here's and Ron Juckett said the same thing because people ask, I would start off with a game you're very confident in that you could, if someone asks you a question, those rules like this, the back, back of your hand, how they say your hand back here. I recommend when I started, I did PC games because it was easier for me because I'm a storyteller. I tell the story. And when ID was doing the Dungeons and Dragons, it's storytelling. Well, I'm just storytelling. I play the thing. People say, oh, well, you're playing. Well, yeah, I play as one side. I'm going to be biased. If I'm playing as the Yankees against whoever, guess what? I don't care that I'm a Yankee fan. I want to win. So I'm going to be biased, And I'd throw in these little things. But I would enjoy what you're doing because if you don't enjoy what you're doing, it comes up. I feed off people enjoying what they're doing. What's your take on if you're going to do a military strategy? You have to like what you're doing, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, I think, that's one of the reasons I decided to make the switch was because I really wasn't enjoying, it might have been burnout. It might have just been the whole coronavirus. I mean, there's a million things that it could have been, right? But I was not having as good a time doing it as I thought I would. And I looked at what I used to like doing and I decided to do and I'm going to say the same thing that you said. Do whatever you want to do, but do it what you want to do to make yourself happy. And if nobody watches, nobody watches. And if 1,000 people watch, then 1,000 people watch. But you should do what you want to do. And by the way, I have over 1 million views, and it doesn't get you $1 million.
No, we do this for fun.
Yeah,
we do this for fun.
You need to be in the multi-million views to make any kind of money. So don't think of getting into YouTube to make a lot of money.
If you do, God bless you. But just have fun if you. Appa Brian, you were talking before. So Appa Brian says, I think my views fell off a little when baseball came back, but that's fine. And he does a wonderful job with Appa and the presentation. He has a really fun presentation, and a lot of people have learned from the presentation that he has. Bears Den, to me, playing 30% of his season or just pretending about playoffs isn't satisfying. They're talking real baseball. I'm going to be honest, I haven't watched much at all. Other things have turned me off.
I don't know because I made the switch, but I've watched two games all year.
I follow. Now, that being said, I follow like I look at the standings and I read a little bit, but I don't miss it this year. Other things, and I'll leave it at that. That's just me. Tabletop Sports. My views came back when I did. Go figure. Well, everyone loves you, Chris.
Yeah,
but he does a fun job. I've been watching. He did sibling rivalries. Mm-hmm. They're playing football. It's a long stream, but what I do is I watch it when I'm driving back and forth to work, and it's just I'm not done with it yet. But I'm in the second half. It's just enjoyable, the banter between him and his brother. It's fun. I like it. That's the other thing. When I tried to speed up and I'm like, no, I'm not doing it. I try to go, it is what it is. You can leave, you can watch. Like you said, you don't want to watch, don't watch. Let's go here. Oh, Larry Harris is here. Let's back to, I've gotten that way. I've generally upload games with which I am most familiar. Yes. You know why? Because, and Larry Harris is here. Let me go back to Chris's point. Let's get there. He says, hi, all. I may drop into someone's channel who is doing a game a lot of times. I have it on to listen to, and I may be playing a game. I do that too on my own. So I do that a lot too, Larry. I hope all is well, Larry. But
yeah, hey, Larry.
Back to Chris. He says, I've gotten that way. I generally upload games which I'm most familiar with. And I think that's very important. And I've done games where I realized, well, I really don't know this game, but I'm down the rabbit hole now, and you just got to keep going with it. But I also find, unless it's really horrible, have I ever stopped a stream that was horrible? Yes, because the sound. Oh, that pissed me. I hadn't streamed in a while, right? And I felt, you know what? I feel like streaming. And
I was on that one where you couldn't talk, and I was like, "Al, turn your microphone on. Al, turn your microphone on."
And I wasn't aggravated with I was aggravated. I'm like, I don't understand my settings. Well, guess what? When Windows did their update, and I had to go through and find where I'm sitting there because I kept going, no, it's right. It was in the background, even though it said it was at such and such. No, it wasn't. That was really aggravating. That happens when you live stream. And the other suggestion, if you live stream, try the best you can to make sure your settings are right. And that's the worst. That's the most frustrating thing. Things go wrong. Roll with the punch. But because everyone's like, we can't hear you. And I'm like screaming it. I'm like, really? Usually everyone says I'm too loud. I'm like looking at the thing. And now I'm noticing, hey, they're right. I mean, I knew you guys were right. You wouldn't say that. At first I thought like they were joking because, like, we can't hear you because usually everyone's like, you're way too loud. Some people, that's the criticism I get. And I'm sorry about that. And then I'm looking when I'm talking and them, you can see that I'm like, they're not joking. They're right. And I'm getting aggravated, but I'm not aggravated at the chat. I'm like, so I'm trying to fix on the fly. I'm like, well, I can't fix this on the fly. I think that's a stream where we cut off. And then the infamous, we were playing. Beatles had shown a free game, which is actually fun. Baseball game. Strategy baseball, which you can no longer download, but there's a sister version of it. It's pretty good. I can't remember the link. I highly recommend it if you want a free game, and it's really fun and all the photos and everything's in there, which is incredible to me. So it was the other version, the first version, and the game literally broke itself. And I kept going, Jesus, how many triples can you hit? Then you realize the game's foobarred. So we played it out to see if we could get out of an inning. The score was like, then we finally got it. The score was like by the third inning, 45-29. I'm like, I can't do this anymore. And I remember I had a couple of people going, it was the funniest thing because I'm trying to call the game as it's. Then you realize the game's busted. So now you're gonna have fun with it. Like it just it glitched. Everybody was hitting a triple. I'm like the first four. I'm like, wow, that's kind of odd. What are the odds of that? And then you just triple. I'm like, holy crap. Someone's got it. And eventually someone would get out just because they're thrown out at the plate by a miracle of God. But that was one of the fun. I had so many comments. That's like when we were playing the 1948 World Series. which I still never went back to. I should do that. That should be one of my projects for out of the box. You're sitting there going, again, I looked up the stats prior. They walked a lot of batters, both these. Actually, in that time period of baseball, it seems like the thing with that was don't give in. We'll walk you. We'll go after the next guy. And we're not going to give you a pitch. I mean, we're going to still, we'll throw, but we're not going to give in to you. So there was a lot more walk, at least from like 48 to the 50, early 50. A lot of teams walked a lot of guys. So you have to expect that. But it was like a gazillion. I'm like, this cannot be right. We're talking, maybe that was a 17. No, that was a legit game, though. That was a Red Sox, but it was horrible. And I actually sent, a viewer said, Al, I came across this. I don't even know if they're still a subscriber because I haven't seen the name in a long time, but in the chat. I actually only saw the person in the chat once, but he would comment once in a while. I'm assuming it's a he. I shouldn't, but he goes, I sent your video because I had the same problem and they didn't believe me. And they actually did a patch for that.
Wow.
It was horrible. You sit down to play a game. For me at the time, for any time, if I get one person, even now, I'm happy in the chat, right? But for me at that time, I had like 10 people, and I was like, holy crap. This is awesome. I got people here to watch, right? And we're going to have banter. And everyone's, it was fun. You got to go. Crazy stuff happens. Here's the best part. The dreadful, I don't know how to pronounce the name, but here's the funny part about that ID. There's a lot of times I'll try to find on YouTube, but you can, the pronunciation of a name. I've learned now to write it down phonetically, right? And then in the heat of doing a game like hockey, which is quicker pace, I'm like, oh, crap. I'm like, I know I didn't say the guy's name right. You know what? Just go with it. Just go with it. But we've told this story before, but it was funny. Remember how we met Clinton? Tell them how we met Clinton.
Oh, yeah.
I know we've told, but I love this story.
He was coming into our live streams. Well, he came into my live stream. I was doing a baseball game or something. I forget what I was doing, but he came in and he corrected my pronunciation on a couple of the guys that I didn't know about. And I had mentioned that to you, and you're like, what was the guy's name? Because I had a guy jump into my chat, and I'm like, I don't remember. I was thinking, and you're like, you pulled up something or remembered or whatever, and you said it was Clinton Parks. And I'm like, that's the guy that came into my thing. He must be some kind of hacker. We talked about it and everything. That was like the funniest.
Oh, and he's cool guy. He's not a troll. He's not, but he's very knowledgeable about baseball. But he would come in, and I got him once though when he kept going. I go, no, it is Felix Mian. This for a fact I know because I watched Mets games. It's Felix Mian. But yeah, that was fun. We had so much. It's so much. I remember when I met you, and then you shared photos with me of spring training. There was a lot of cool stuff. I met so many nice people that I would not have met without YouTube. So again, when I get mad at YouTube, I really can't. I just wish certain things would work better or explain to me what I'm doing wrong if I'm doing something wrong. All right.
Well, you got your live stream working now.
Yeah.
So, you should get back in again. Get back into that. Get going. Get on a regular schedule. Get your people in there.
We'll do some. What's it called? Not interview. Tests to see who will be the new other two people. Well, OG will do it when he has time. It's just I haven't done it. Devin will always be there if he's able to do it. And I love Devin and I. We have this great chemistry. Ron, it's a little late for Ron. I'd love to have him back. Comics with Bueller, if I asked him, he would come on once in a while. I wouldn't want him on because I don't want to burden someone to come on every. Right. I like OG. I like every time. Other people, I'd love. If Comics with Bueller wanted to come on every time, it'd be awesome. But I don't want to sit there. Okay, come on every time. Because other people, you're doing stuff. It's not.
Right.
Chris. We did Chris. The voices he did.
Yeah.
That was those. I think we had about a month. Or more than a month.
Or a couple months, yeah.
I had a solid 4 guys all the time, and we had chemistry right off the bat. And it just grew. It was so much fun.
Yeah.
Because everyone knew what you could play off of. It was just fun, and I miss Dog. I wish he'd come back, but again, everyone does what they need to do to be happy.
Yeah, it's been a long time since we've heard from Dog.
You get frustrated or whatever, things don't, whatever. But he was a ton of fun, very smart. I think the last step he did a beautiful thing. We were doing a thing on the chair. Oh God, I am brain dead today. Ben-Hur. And he's very knowledgeable. I mean, we were doing, people said it was like a professor doing, I was there to help him with it. He put it all together. It was beautiful. And we're talking about it. We're having a good time. And he showed a clip that's been shown. We could show, but because we did it live, he got whammied.
Oh.
And I think that was the last straw for him because he's starting to grow his channel again. Yeah. And he's so knowledgeable about so many things, our good friend Dog. And if he's watching or if he's around, we miss you. Just like we miss you, IDJ in sports. But we can still see you in Wargaming, and you found a new company to bash, and I'm there for you.
Same old. Just
same old. All right, back to the chat here. There's the Cubs, the Bears. Great to see our live chat back. Hope it becomes regular again. Hit the like button going with more upvote.
Everyone wants.
Listen, if I could get him on
live with chat.
Yeah. You know how this started?
So that is.
What would you come on?
The reason I'm here today is to get you back in because
you kept badgering me. I was wondering.
I'm going to tell the audience. I don't know how many viewers we got right now. Okay, we've been talking about getting together for months.
Yeah, I know.
And months.
My fault.
And months. And months, and every time I get on your live stream or your broadcasting game, you're like, "Hey, I'm gonna get with you so we can get." Today, I'm like, "Al,
you did. You said I answered.
I emailed you and I said tonight we're doing it, so let's do it."
No, I appreciate it.
Okay, tonight.
So you might have to be a regular, IDJ.
That's fine.
You might have to be a regular.
Without me pushing you, the reason I'm here is to push you back in because you need to get back into that. Tomorrow night, there you go. Tabletop.
Oh, I thought he was leaving. Read the comments, jackass Al. Don't just wave.
10 o'clock tomorrow. He's live with Al. It'll be back on.
Well,
Idjester.
I will try to. We have company, but they should be gone by 10. And if they're here, we'll do. And we got company. But you know what happened? Life happens. And as much as YouTube was a sanctuary for me, I went through bouts of depression with family members, my mom and dad passing away. And if I didn't have YouTube, I'm going to be honest, if I did not have YouTube, just to listen, I told people sometimes, I think I typed to Eric one time, it's nice to hear a familiar voice when just hear something.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You know? So when I would do the gaming streams and then I'd get off the air and I'd go right back to when I stream. I remember there were times someone goes, "Do you sleep?" Because there were times where I just stream.
Yeah, I'd be at work at 8 o'clock in the morning and it would say, "New video from Al 4 hours ago." And I'm like, damn, what was he doing up at 4 o'clock in the morning?
I'm lucky to have Nurse Teresa. She's helped me out a lot. She helped me out with my dad a lot. She was not my dad's nurse. I met her before, and we were dating, but she helped me out a lot at the end. And stuff happens, not fun, and I don't wish. I'm happy with. We're able to keep my parents at home, and I miss them, and I'll leave it at that because this ain't what that's about. But yeah, it's a lot of fun doing chats with Al. Oh, how it started. Back to the Cubs, the Bears. So I was like, how does this? I did it with OBS, right? And I don't want to play a game today. I just want to talk about sports movies or some nonsense. Yeah. And we got on there, and so I did it like once a week, and I'd have the same. It was actually the most popular thing. I'm like, wow, people actually, and we would go 4 or 5 hours, and we're talking about shows we liked and a lot of sport, and you meet a lot of nice people, and it was fun. But
here's some recommendations I would have for you. Number one, you need to keep it to an hour and a half to 2 hours max, because any longer than that, you start losing a lot of people's attention and stuff. and you want to make them come back next episode because you don't want to talk about the same things over and over again. You want to bring something new and fresh every time. If you're on for 4 or 5 hours,
you're hitting everything.
Each week you're going to be talking about the same thing for 4 or 5 hours. You need to keep it shorter and make them come back the next week to enjoy more.
Note taken. Will I do that? I hope so.
You will do it.
Yeah.
You will do it.
It's tough.
Because you will listen to me because you know I'm right.
I know. Listen. I already told you offline. I'm not going to tell you online. I'm not telling you.
I know. That's what I'm saying. You know I'm right. If you do it my way, you will be successful and you will be happy about it.
We want PP. That was. We're gonna go off soon, but that was one of the funniest. We gave Kermit the Frog a cocaine and a hooker habit.
Oh my God!
That was one of the funniest things.
Yeah.
And Chris is I'll tell you. Now I'm gonna go slightly serious, not serious, but when he did that song for the I can't remember. Oh God, what was his name?
For our Dungeons and Dragons game,
and his name wasn't pronounced the way we thought it was pronounced. That's what I remember. He was a very nice man, young person.
Dylan.
Yeah.
Dylan Do.
Yeah, and he did that song. Chris, you're so talented, my friend. God bless you. A voice of an angel, and that's true.
And to be honest, I wouldn't even remember Dylan Do if it wasn't for that song.
Yeah.
So
and
it's the little things that remind you of the good things. So just keep that in mind.
And he played the guitar. It was awesome.
Played the guitar. He sang the song. He wrote it. Basically, wrote it, created it, filmed it, everything in one day.
Now, this is what always gets me in trouble. I don't care. Dave Gardner says, does wargaming shut down for social justice issues? What's going to happen with wargaming? Never mind. I have so many jokes there, but I have my good friend IDJ on the channel, so I'll leave it at that. I don't want him to get in trouble.
You best just stay all away from it. I'm telling you, it's just not a good situation.
Enjoy.
It's not a good thing to talk about. It's not a good situation. Everyone has their own points and opinions, and no matter what you say, you're going to piss somebody off. You're going to piss them off about their baseball game, that's one thing. But if you're going to talk about their race, religion, or color of their skin, that's a different subject altogether. So I'll piss you off about your baseball game or something like that, which is very low in the priority list for most people. Although I still get hate mail because people still watch my video on Stratomatic. So I still oh, good Lord, I still get messages from people all the time about it.
It's funny to me. You expressed your opinion, and if someone doesn't like it, fine. And they can express their opinion too. And you know what I say? Opinions have been
probably a good thing I switched. I actually had another 3-part series on the 30 things that drive me crazy about Stratomatic, and I was going to do 10 for the card and dice, 10 for the computer, and 10 for the company. And I had 8 of each, and I needed to come up with 2 more things.
Sergeant G.
So I
bad IDJ.
Bad IDJ.
Yeah, but you know what? Our community's not. We can agree to disagree on stuff. Always be cordial. It's all right.
Sure. Yeah, we're always cordial. We're always cordial.
Always cordial. You know how problems are solved? When people come together.
So tomorrow night at 10, you, OG, Tabletop Sports Delaware, and who else?
Maybe you.
Maybe. I'm sure you could find someone better than me, but if we need a fill-in.
We'll have a, there was a standard thing I would say things, right? And then I turned to Ron. Ron would always take me down the path of the rabbit hole.
There you go.
I blame stuff on Ron. Ron would, I would tell him after, I go, you do that on purpose. You trigger me. You'd say, because like he would say things like, Al's just gonna go with this. Not mean like Trigger, just like go down this raunchy kind of comedy way.
Yeah.
God, that was.
Well, I mean, to be honest, when you're just having live chats and you're just talking and people are just being people, it's some of the best times that you can actually sit down and listen. Like when Ron Juckett and Dave Gardner were doing their live stream, and Ron got attacked by the banner.
I heard. I still have not seen that.
still laugh about that.
Yeah.
Whenever it comes across my head,
Dave
still laugh about that.
Dave still.
That is like the funniest thing.
Yeah. Dave kills them all the
I'm
time.
going to start doing it again.
Dave kills them all the time.
Those are the things that you can bring to the community by having your live chat with Al.
Yeah. No, I enjoy the live chats. We're gonna leave shortly. We've been on a long time and been a lot of fun.
We got to go because
IDs.
we want them to come back for more.
Yeah.
So overstay our welcome. But
so I like to thank everyone. Thank you, IDJ.
Thank you.
It was a lot of fun. Congratulations going back to your military strategy. If you want to play a ball game now and then, it'd be cool. But if you don't, that's cool. Your military strategy stuff is fun. I enjoy it. And I think a lot of people, and you do get a lot of people in watching. Again, maybe not chatting, which is, I've noticed that with military, sometimes people don't come. They're just sitting and enjoying and listening. I bet you they're playing a game and they're listening.
Could he?
That's my guess. Yeah. Because I've watched Todd's streams and, again, whatever. He might have sometimes 8 people, 10 people, 5 people, 4 people, 1 person. I always like to say hello when I pop in a stream just so people know someone's there. And but sometimes people listen. There are times I watch a stream and at the end I go, oh, thanks for the stream. And they're like, oh, hey, thanks for coming by for a few. And I'm like, I've been here a long time. I don't say that. I've been here a long time. I'm just playing a game.
I've been watching you for an hour.
So.
Well, thank you for having me. I'm glad I finally emailed you to force you upon this. So if you need somebody for tomorrow night, just email me. You got my email address.
All right. I can't promise it because, again, we have company coming over. But by 10, I think we can do it. So, or quarter to 10. So,
I look forward to it.
We'll keep it to an hour and a half.
There you go.
There we go. Thank you, everyone. Stay safe. Be smart. God bless. Health and happiness. I appreciate everyone's time. Greatly appreciate it. I greatly appreciate our fine guest, Idjester. Check out his channel if you haven't. And as always, it's been a lot of fun. Thank you very much. God bless. Peace.